You gave him the microphone. Thank you very much. Council, if you're ready to continue, you can do so. Not, if you want to start with the special guest, he's still speaking. Go ahead, please.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Welcome back, Mr. Witness.
Bismillah.
May I remind you that you are still on the oath? So you have told us this morning how you left Gambia, went all the way to Libya, acquired all this training, you went to Liberia, and later came to Senegal, and infiltrated Gambia, and attacked the Farafenni camp. Your mission failed, and you tried to sneak out. You were captured. That's what we discussed this morning, correct? What happened to the camp commander?
Camp commander
Brahma Sen.
The camp commander called Brahma Sen.
Biran Sen.
Or Biran Sen. Biran Sen was the camp commander.
So the phone arrest la natara no so bring janjanda damando.
Him and went along with him, but where we dispersed,
so na janjanda so a soldier old man ni benda pira singare.
After we dispersed and after meeting with the other soldiers like Peter Singate, he went along with them.
Was he injured?
No.
No.
Did you maltreat him? Take your time. You can perhaps have more water. Jahanka hamudahin. Take some more water. You can take him to the witness room and assist him to recuperate. Yes. Suma? Hello, Mr. Witness. Are you okay now?
Alhamdulillah. Yes, thanks to Allah.
Are you able to proceed?
Inshallah. Yes, by the grace of Allah.
If at any time you feel that you are unable to proceed, just let us know. We can take a break to allow you to recuperate, or we can take the necessary step that the situation demands.
Sioni wijo ni kono nimfura tembera ya kala muta ifamfe ko ite tenten nola isa isin kala mutandi saje nsi wato ni sioni saki domanding yata yefang topoto domanding
With no disappearance.
Yes, Mr. Chair, certainly. So Officer Biran Sen was not maltreated in any way. That's what you said, right?
Officer Biran Sen wala kam komanda nyinti imamuta almamuta nyala me alon ko aytare de ko no waranto kudo
Hani biringa arrest.
No, when we arrested him,
Mr. Witness, bring Alia kidnap.
Biringa kidnap.
when we kidnapped him,
Mang momaning,
nobody insulted him,
moma bute,
nobody beat him,
momang kumajawa fai.
nobody told him any hard words.
Because into la londo tambira wala puruka wachawala.
Because our experience or our knowledge is more than doing such a thing to him.
Bairi niaje nga kidnap wonya makasamba.
The reason why we kidnapped him like that and took him away,
Nindula dolam.
Had it been in other places, if you enter a camp and capture a camp, the soldiers ran away, and you now capture the camp commander and leave him like that and go. He didn't die. He was not injured. Nothing happened to him. After the whole episode, if others come, they will accuse the camp commander being in the same agreement with those who attacked the camp. This is why we captured and took him away. Had it been in other places, the moment the loyal soldiers arrive, they will arrest him because they will think that he was in agreement with the attackers of the camp.
Thank you very much for that response. So now, in your testimony, you have come as far as telling us that you have arrived at the NIA. Who received you at the NIA? You are now brought to the NIA. You have revived. Well, you have now regained your consciousness. Tell us what you saw.
When we arrived at the NIA, I was brought down the vehicle. They opened the door. Their main gate. After opening the gate, Lamin Jobate.
Which Lamin Jobate are you talking about?
Lawyer, Minister of Justice.
The lawyer who once was the Minister of Justice.
Do you know any other name by which he is called?
I heard some people calling him as Baba Dindin Jobate.
Did you know him before?
I never set eyes on him.
That was the first time you saw him?
Yes.
How did you know he was called Lamin Jobate or Baba Dindin Jobate?
Because received Bundanyan.
Because he was the man who received me at the gate.
But I received you.
After he received me, before that, I was able to recognize him among people.
I received Bundanyan.
After he received me at the gate, before we reached inside, I think the moment I stepped on the ground, that's where my peace ended. Before they knew anything, the moment I stepped on the ground, he slapped me.
Who slapped you?
Baba Dindin Jobate.
So
that's how they caught me. But at that time, I was still bleeding from the bullet wound on my leg.
You have not yet been taken to hospital?
Honey? No.
And before slapping you, did he ask you anything?
Well, just like after arriving, the moment they brought me down from the vehicle, he didn't ask me anything, he didn't say anything to me, he just slapped me, and that's afterwards they dragged me into an office.
How do you know that this person was Minister of Justice at a later stage?
He
found me inside the jail.
Did you have a conversation with him in the jail?
Before they bring him into the jail, after he was arrested, because before all that, when he tortured me and the officers who were present, Baba Dinding Jobate and some others, I narrate to them what happened.
So Biria arrest drone.
So when he was just arrested,
Asamba main yard.
he was taken to the main yard.
So I left the bond la main yard pour kasamana confirm.
And after he was taken to the main yard, they wanted to bring them to confinement.
So I officer member Marlin confirm.
The officer who was in charge of the confinement wing,
Ikafai Dudu Ture.
he was called Dudu Ture.
Another command.
He came and called me,
Another Fonyako.
and then he told me,
Ale Sabarota.
you people have to bear.
Because Nima Sabarota.
You people have to forgive, isn't it?
Sabaro.
Sabaro.
Listen.
Patience.
Patience, okay.
That's different from
Okay,
to forgive.
all right.
Sabaro.
I was trying to interpret the context, but undoubtedly I got it wrong. Please proceed.
And then,
Nakwa isi Sabarota.
You people have to bear.
Kado Nima Sabarota.
Without that,
By Mome Kuja okay.
because somebody who maltreated you,
Inaro arresi Asamananjang.
and that person also is arrested and brought to the same place,
Lafta transfer and Jampraina confirm.
they wanted to transfer him to come to the confinement wing.
Bedan.
I want to appeal to you.
Yes, Sabari.
Please be patient,
Karo Ale Kitty and Manfavolo.
because Allah has decided, even before you all died,
Nima Sabar.
if you don't take patience,
Aurora Sabar no correct.
then you will never be patient again.
We would come back to all this
later.
later. Okay. What I want to establish
Lafta
is,
main sabatinda wulam nyintiko.
how did you come to be certain, to be sure that the person that received you is Baba Dinding Jobate?
Lafta ka men sabatinda wulam nyintiko. Nyin keno ra nyadi le men anara na sabati sonno mo kono ko. Nyim mari nyim meye kabri ye nari je meye tlo buza. Baba Dinding Jobate lam.
Because Brian Bondi Bundaro.
Because when he took me away from the gate,
I samba for office.
he took me right into the office.
So I see that
He sat down.
I'm Bula Simfara float him.
You come in the front and you demonstrate.
Ko na nyaro ya
Chair in
itandi
the
moliaje.
front
Siraw
and
na
you
di nyaro.
demonstrate for us.
Siraw boni tabulo ma ko ya na di nyaro. Wuli.
Bring the chair, let him sit and show us what happened, what he did.
Ko ya itandi commission la menkela.
Please proceed.
And then yavo.
Brian Nta Bundaro.
After he took me from the gate,
So Brian Tulo Fadiro.
Could you wait for the... Yes, please, go ahead.
after he slapped me,
So I couldn't do no because Tulo Fadron boy.
because when he slapped me, I fell down.
I couldn't do all.
That's how he dragged me
Samba officer.
and took me into an office.
So we don't put that
Just a minute.
So do mandi.
You mean to say that you were being dragged like a sack?
Lafta fala ye kurundi la ko boro.
Yes.
And where were you taken?
Yesamba mindole.
Sambela wall bad dole.
They took me to a hall, a big hall which was there.
Was the hall upstairs or downstairs?
Hol oning abe sandole ban fabe dumale.
I would do man.
It's downstairs.
What's the distance between the point from which he started to drag you to the point where you were taken to, at least to the point you were given a seat?
Dinkira la jamfo be nyoy nyaadi le dinkira men ayaku da mutake kurundu damento aning aye samba dinkira mento jamfo be nyoy nyaadi le.
Well, it's a little bit distance.
You are a soldier, you can give us an estimate of distance.
Sojaro lo muiti isi yirkaro dino mollale ala jamfo.
5 meters, 10
Kodira
It might be 10 meters, something like that. Yes.
How did it feel being dragged on the ground like that?
Ite yo ki ta nyaadi le akite fe nyaadi le ke kurundu teroto bankoto nyama.
Ma understand because I don't balo from Benyama. I ain't Kenyama, what on balo from Benyama, Ma understand Muna, Dali Jumala, Emaninka, Emalo Jumalem, drag Wanyama, and Samba for Offsohono. You know, case him for a full tema, Yen Dete.
I don't know why, because I don't understand it. apart from just after alighting from the vehicle, he slapped me and then dragged me into an office. I fell down and he dragged me like that on the ground up to the office, and then he put me between his two legs.
He sat
without
down
asking me.
He sat down and put me between his two legs.
Yes.
He
sat down. He sat down in a chair, and he put me between his two legs, and squeezed me, and then started slapping me on both sides.
So
on both cheeks.
At that time, many of the NIA operatives came in there.
Let's try to get this picture. When he put you in between his two legs, were you seated on the floor or were you standing?
I was sitting down on the ground. He was sitting on a chair and I was sitting on the ground.
How many times did he slap you?
Because you can't I
cannot say how many, because when he slaps me, they keep on asking me, and after he slaps, others will also come and start slapping me as he was doing. So this was going along with questions.
In your opinion, who was in charge of the persons who were in the room at the time?
At that time, I can say that Fodebari was their head.
Apart from, okay, let me put it in a very neutral way. Who were the people present in the room at that time?
I mean, Jabate was there. Fodebari.
Ani dobeje kafa ninja.
There was another one called Ninja.
Ani atondila bangsa. Ni manja kontong bemena bangsa.
Mung kontom sifa.
Mung kontom sifa la.
Surwa kontong.
Surwa kontong mulong lande.
Mandinka kontong. Yola kontong. Bambara kontong.
Baby, Janni Beras can Haklo Batoma, where I begin.
Well, maybe I might remember the name
describe
later.
him?
Mulundanyo for no.
I Balosole.
He was well built.
At Katala Kanabalumene in the Samananji.
He goes in and out, but the day I was brought there, that night,
another Nunjere.
He came there.
So not Safatla, not another no Liparo container at the from Keramo, Melango, Belipakan Kendek.
Because the time he came in there, that was the time when they were beating me, and he joined them, and they beat me very well.
Yo, Katafo ni Salimina Drame.
Was Salimina Drame.
At Buddha Jarangola.
He is from Jara. He was also there.
So this person whose name you can't remember, Salmina Drame, Ninja, Fodebari, Lamin Jabate. Those are the people you have named so far.
Yep.
Okay, so let's take it step by step. Now you've been brought into this room. You said somebody sat on the chair and placed you in between his legs and squeezed you. Who was this person?
Lamin Jobate.
Lamin Jobate.
And what is his other name?
To dodu.
Baba Dindin Jobate.
The other name is Baba Dindin Jobate.
What other position do you know him to have held in this country?
Yo yalo makama jumala fana marajang nyimbang kungkang.
Ngalon ko o time abenu NIA abodo record a lawyer yara no.
At that time he was at the NIA, later on he was a lawyer.
Abodo yake magistrate judge.
Afterwards he was appointed as a magistrate or a judge.
Abodo yake Minister of Justice.
From then he was appointed as the Minister of Justice.
Okay, who is the other person that participated?
Jumalan mo kodando di menda bulata ko kono.
You said there were others who would also come and slap you while they were asking you questions.
Ko modol fanan kasoto le mendu kana eke tulo busa tembo mene katre nyini kakang.
Ko bisa
Yes, just because
ko do be ya ta kana kara bara ai balo so le me wo fana manke salmina dam bara ai balo so le dem nyina ta.
Okay, okay.
there was a
What's
man
his
who,
complexion?
Ala kuloro nyare mo fi
ko comme ça mambara balo la ko itale mambara balo la.
yes, he's in between black and fair complexion.
Did he say Abalo Koita?
Mampata Balo.
Comme ça mambara balo la.
Yes, but okay. He says Bampata Balo, Abalo Koita. What does that mean? Could you interpret that?
Mampata Balo means somebody who is in between fair coloredness and dark in complexion.
Okay. All right. And you said, are you okay, Mr. Witness, or you need?
Yeah, okay, I'm okay.
You're all right. Okay. And this person,
you marry.
you don't remember his first name or his last name?
Ma to na konta mo bi mutano. Ato ana konta
Sa
mo.
lo boda la immediately but na to na konta mo be ba na mai ni na ta la science thing.
I forgot him just now, but I knew his name and surname all before.
Is that a name that you had given me before?
Mo mu tolti me yalan ko ya dinal num ko man to ba.
Ha nga dila nu commando ban tele ni na ta bara be je.
Yes, I gave you the name before. I gave it to you, but maybe now I forgot, but it's there.
Okay, just give me a minute. May I come approach Mr. Chair? Thank you.
Okay, ya so do wandi ngai kiaman wali.
Mr. Witness,
Sedo,
the chairman has permitted me
kiaman e silo dinale.
to give you 10 names.
Mo tanto dila.
Some I plucked out from the air. It's just in random names.
Hol dol be je ngol bondi mfangole karadola.
Some of people who worked at the NIA.
Dol tol mu molder mi ran ko be do ko la NIA je fangoto.
And you would, if you remember the name,
Ninga tra mari nyinto ya mari muta.
you would tell us which name it is or which name you've remembered.
Ye isa fanye jumale mo mari tuti waranto e hakilo jumale to muta nyumol kono.
James Cisse.
ila moy la kamol tollel kontiyete
Baba Demba, Musa Toure, Tamsir Fall, Hari Sambu,
wala
Arisambo.
Arisambu Willem.
yes. How do you know that
Yeah.
it's Hari Sambu?
yalo nyaadi le ko hari sambulam
Because it told, come say, Sierra Jela.
Because there were many there.
Don't forget the Kava Joe Mendy.
There was one person called Joe Mendy.
So, Brave and Tojola.
So when they were torturing me,
Yo, comes up, you know the point, I'll see here.
so just in fact I forgot a point. Please forgive me.
You told me Mudarani Franco, a monkey can't do well from Nino Water, said, because you talk to you water.
Because this was the time I was tortured. So whenever that time comes around,
Nino Water, said, because among comes out, that can they also follow back.
I'm not quite healed, I'm not quite well.
And we are not a rock, and I for a school, I to rock a Janning Sumani na water with Tambela, Cabrin November, Cara December, so Walan Diam come from Falindar. But now our Rosita, and in the Medvesiri, it will be alone because now for an hour Rosita come on.
Well, this thing happens to me around November to December. Whenever this comes around, when the time comes around, this was the time they tortured me, so this thing happens to me. And even those I stay with, they know, I told them.
So, NIA,
so at the NIA, I know Hari Sambu, there were many of them there at that time.
NIA 96.
By the time we were going to the NIA, it was in 1996.
Late Sambaba.
At that time, late Sambaba,
director of NIA.
He was the director of the NIA.
So,
By the time we were being taken there.
So now let's talk about the torture. You told us about being Baba Dinding, Jabate putting you in between his legs and he was slapping you.
Yem fanyo ko Baba Dinding ole bula ay India simfarafulul tema darra ke liba ke plugu.
And others joined in.
Modo kotangol nada kafudama.
Who are those who joined in and beat you?
Jumallo do kotangol do men nada kafama and liba.
Harisambu was there.
For everybody. Ninja. Salimina. Joe. And other people may told London.
And some other guys, I don't know their names. Yes, they were in there.
All these people you named, did they torture you?
All of them beat me. I wouldn't tell lies against them. No, I wouldn't tell lies against them.
I want to get this absolutely, I want to get emphatic answers from you. And I remind you that you are under oath. You have an obligation to speak the truth. Salmina Drame, did he hit you?
Salmina Drame, fire Busaleba.
Yes. In fact, he was saying that these people just take them and give them to the crocodiles. Because by the time when we were there, myself and Yaya Drame were in the same cell. They took us towards the area where Bambadinka. We were left at the place called Bambadinka, myself and Yaya Drame.
Okay, just a moment. You said Salmina Drame hit you.
Because Salmina Drama ye mala,
Yes.
Fodebari?
Fodebari ye lipal.
For atakali pat doko la fong lang kumoto.
He was the man hitting me on my head with a stick.
Hari Sambu, did he beat you?
Hari Sambu dum fanam bulo e malay.
Ah,
Yes.
And for how long did this particular torture session last? This was your first day at the NIA.
Yakilo baga nyinam dum follow de be NIA. Nyi butero nyi ay wati jellel ta iba ke kangla.
yo, ni ngaro bedara bak.
Yes, this question is good.
Karo bere nyimbude ronyi.
Because this beating, this torture session,
Bere dun ante NIA lum follow nyin.
the first day when I was taken to the NIA,
Bere nyimbude roke o suro nyin.
after they beat me that night,
Purungam fam fo endalam juma de nde fo mabe tay farafanyal fo mammabe comme ça o sifa.
to tell them who I was, whether I was part of the Farafenni attack group or
E man kuma soto nombul.
they didn't have anything from me, no answers.
O suro mu mobe yew bude roke na man fen soto nombul.
Throughout that night, they were beating me, but they were unable to get any response from me.
So samo so manda.
So the following morning,
Yam fin dindi kotak.
they took me out again,
Kabo bamba dinga.
out of Bambadinka.
Up to this moment, you have not been taken to the hospital.
Oh, watu la be mi samba labtano do ke jara.
Hani.
No.
How about the bullet wound that you were suffering? It wasn't attended to.
Kidi keso ni yebu kidi keso men hani wo fa ma e me nyati wo fa la pour ka ju.
Hani.
No.
Kalo fon kan e ka la dolbe je ka e la samaro tu o fon kan.
Some of them were even stamping on that area of my leg with their boots, with their shoes.
So biro o fano kana.
So when it was daybreak the following day,
Yen samba yambondi bamba dinga.
they took me out of Bambadinka.
Yen samba officer kotak.
They took me to the office again.
So intarte bul wala nyama.
That's how I was in their hands.
Be lipa ka be nyinin kaka.
They were beating me and questioning me.
Ba han sa e man kuma soto mbul.
But up to that point, I didn't give them anything.
On this occasion,
Sila do
who was involved?
jumal da be libar butere fulanya woni do.
O butere fulanja woni.
That second beating,
Lam jobare
Lamin Jobate,
de fode bari
Folebari,
dani samusar Colonel samusar
and Colonel Samsar.
Excuse me?
ha
Who's this third person you
Mo
mentioned?
sabanja e men fotay ko jumalde.
samusar atle benu babukari jara no ma wo time
Samsar, he was the next man to Babkar Jata at that time.
But Colonel Samsar was in the headquarters, the army headquarters. He was not at the NIA.
Ako bari Colonel Samsar o wato la abe sojaro la korda balto no manta dum ina e la korda ton.
yo mbar ngana je senende
Yes, let me clarify that point.
o bere in araje ura ko sa konton ko la mulon
They came there around after lunch time.
sa ko
Who came there?
Male na daje.
ate samusar anim babukari jara
Samsar and Babkar Jata came there.
so bere nara
When they came,
ate yen sindi duma
at that time I was made to sit on the ground.
Were you fully clothed at the time?
O wato la ila dum fengol be la bang atimbari.
hani
No.
What happened to your clothes?
Na kire la dum fengol la.
aro en na dum fengol bonde na le
I
fa
was-
adarsa na drosola
I was stripped. I was just wearing my underwear, my knickers.
so bere en sindi duma
When I was made to sit down,
so belli paka wanyama
they were beating me
be nyin nga gam pour sim fam fon sa fon dabije
and still questioning me so that I can tell them that yes, I was part of the group.
so beje ro
I was there.
samsar ni babukar jara nata
Samsar came with Babkar Jata.
so bir adunda nan ron
When he entered,
so ata samsar ala ami kombaro nya ndamfu
he himself, Samsar, with his army combat boots, he kicked me.
rain damfu ro so demunda rai kurpeno kallipan koro
When he kicked me, he started hitting me with his hands on my back.
I can dampa la samura kala samato tunko kante.
He was also kicking me on my back.
Could you come to the front and demonstrate to the commission how he was doing it?
Commission nyati na urban ya tandi bang baro nyi ka kela nyamen e baro nyi ka kela nyamen
Warombe siri duma.
When I was sitting down on the ground,
So nina draws kenson.
with only my underwear,
So birani Babukar Jata na.
when he came with Babukar Jata,
So bir abdunda nandro.
the moment he came in,
Ala ami kombaro I'm fadi wala.
he kicked me with his army combat.
So birim boy rabro.
When I fell down,
So mota ko daga anara ala ami kombaro aka ay tunku kan.
he used his army combat and started stamping on my head.
While you were lying on the floor like that?
nda wato be lare teroto nyala ibe nyamente
Ha.
Yes.
Okay. Can you show us how he was stamping on you?
faisa tan na silanga ka doroy kay nyaadi le
Aka drone aka simotu aka simotu kan ya. Fanje ka woni bandro nindro.
He was stamping on me with insults.
Aba for moda foka. Aba fankala aba kala. Moda foka.
Yes, he was using that word and stamping on me.
So apart from stamping you, did he use his hands against you?
ninga bota ke ka singota ka tuyi kan fo ya bulo fanantala ka kukeba
Ha ko kurpenyo ta ka lepan koto.
Yes, he used to blow me on my back with his hands.
Babukar Jata amuta teng.
Babukar Jata came and held him.
Babukar Jata kaya ko hey.
Babukar Jata said to him, hey, this man has been brought here. You are not yet, we don't know as yet whether he was part of the attackers of Farafenni or not. And now you are treating him like this. Now if you kill him, you will explain yourself. That's what Babukar told him.
But how do you know who was Samsar and who was Babukar Jata?
ti yalo nyaadi le nyinem ba samsar ti nyinem Babukar
You
Jata
can take your seat.
nyimmo fulo yebo no nyoro nyaadi le
because it all more Babukar Jata ko nyoko nyene mu army commander nyene be army commandant hono.
I know them because when I was sitting down there, they told me this is the army commander and this is his deputy.
But how do you manage to remember these names?
sayiti ya katado nyaadi le ifo nyimol tolu nying ya ima nyinala
it all family ya bonja yalo iko maningol ko iko kundam fala kanyina bari yemem bala subolo bu kanyina ko.
They told me, but the Mandinka proverb goes, the person who kills the animal for food, well, he will forget. But the person whom you refuse to give a share will not forget.
So I bet Dr. Cisse didn't know that one. Proceed, Mr.
ten.
So biro okera
After that, they were still unable to get any.
Mr. Witness,
in other
Mr. Witness,
no.
Do you recall what Samsar was wearing
hakilo sa mutano laban samsar
during that event?
o lungo nyinda o tembo dinkira nyindo je mundum fensi fale bala
Ala full uniform.
He was in full uniform.
How do you know that he was colonel?
yalo nyaari la maka mu konelolti
Franco Babala, Rango Babala.
He was having the ranks on his body.
It will only have for time.
And they also told me at that time.
Can you give us a description of Samsar?
samsar amulum tanye ya fo isa tandi fo isa o fono nyaba mu mo nyaadi lam
Samusaru Adombalo na
Samsar,
Ajamfara Sandore.
at the time I knew him, he was a tall man.
Baloma Landa Tambuara.
He is not very well built, not to that extent.
Because near Jibani Babukar Balos or Jamfara or Sando.
Because if you compare him with Babukar Jata, Babukar is more well built than him, but he was taller than Babukar.
Okay. In which language did he insult you? You said he insulted you. You also said he said motherfucker. Excuse my language. Did he insult you in any other language?
Ani
No, he was just using this word in English.
So after Sam Sar beat you,
Samsare liver.
what happened next?
Because what happened,
so another Fangamutana ya drama.
that was the time they caught Yaya Drame.
Yaya Samana.
When Yaya was brought,
Are Mankuma Sorondabulu.
by that time they had not got any response from me.
Sai left a poor Kambula.
Now they wanted to release me.
For I decided Kumara Bar Mankuma Sorombaru. Tilo Mabulaita.
And what they said was that as far as we were unable to get anything from this man, if the sun goes down, then we can release him.
Excuse me.
Yes, sir.
Was you mentioned 2 torture sessions?
You buteri bemfulelefo.
The first was the day you arrived, and this was the second day you were at the NIA. Was this the time Drame was brought in?
It was the second day that Yaya Drame was arrested and brought in there.
And so what happened when Yaya was brought?
When Yaya came, he was escorted by soldiers.
So
His hands were cuffed behind him.
So
when he just was approaching, at that time their office was open. I was sitting down on the ground in there.
So
So when Yaya saw me, he said, "Balo." That was the end of peace for me. That was the time they said, so he is one of them. So from that instant, I am unable to know where beatings were coming from.
So
when they beat me again,
do you know who are the people that participated in this beating?
No time ya samana sojarol ya escort. So mojama be no ma dolwe also kono je burubri ya ko balo idendan naloro.
Well, at that time, there were many of them. So when these soldiers escorted Balo into the compound, and the moment he saw me, when Yaya was brought in, and the moment he saw me, he said Balo. From that moment, these people all came against me.
So we want to know who participated in it.
Mr.
Witness.
I menutra of so kono je ada forever of so kono je jobare beje
The people in the
sam sar beje jo beje jo mendu beje even ni famo beje salmina beje many hari sambu beje tol beje o time.
The people he counted like this: Joe Mendy, Harisambu, Salmina Drame. They were all present. And Ninja, they were all there.
Did all these people participate in your torture?
Yes, very well.
Can you tell us the names of those you know tortured you on that occasion? This would be your third torture.
No, not
No, Sabanjango, but Liparongo Sabanjango.
Before that, Janio Bekela, Yaya Drame Nati, Yalo Benta Lumfulanjango Lefe.
wolun ne yo ke
wolun amunta wolun kilin ye bute sinya fulale ko yo akayinin ka wolela wo bute franjaw yalo ye bute folo kele hani fo folo ko wari mon kuma soto wabulu asike wuraro ngabula wo kola lo mila foroto ye yaya drame nati bidun yaya drame ye to kumandi ko kairo banda wotumole so akayinin ka wolla kairo law bandi jumanyo le muruta nan kota ke lipa sinya franjango wolum kilin ko
I mean to also kono je jobata beje for the beje
those yeah for killing here for the people he found in the office there were Jobata himself plus for the bari and
Salmina
was there,
Harisambu
was there, Joe was there.
Joe, what's his last name?
Joe Mendy.
And who else?
And Ninja. And other people, many comes and told
and some other
more
I cannot remember their names because there were many.
At this time, where was Samsar?
You temben Samsar li.
He was there. By the time they were bringing him, he was there and he was part of the torturing team. He was there.
Babukar Jata, was he there?
Babukar Jata,
he was there, but he didn't touch because me. Because it's better to tell the truth. He didn't touch me. He was there, but he didn't touch me.
All right, we would take it again, and we just want clarity as to who tortured you and who did not torture you. I must apologize, Mr. Chair. I just have to do this, be pedantic about it, and make sure that we have it in the record exactly who did what. Mr. Jobate, did he beat you on this occasion, this second time of torture on that day?
Yes. Yes.
For the Barry, did he beat you on this second occasion?
Yes,
always he was having a stick and he used to beat me on my head.
Salmina?
Salmina drama.
Yes. Yes.
Yes, what?
He also beat me.
Harisambu?
Harisambu fana.
Yes, Harisambu also.
Also what?
He also beat me.
Joe Mendy?
Joe Mendy also beat me.
Babukar Jata?
No, Babukar Jata mama.
No, Babukar Jata didn't touch me.
Ninja?
Ninja touched me.
Samsar?
Samsar fana male.
Samsar also.
Aye manyadi?
He tortured me, he beat me.
And then what happened after all this beating?
After all this beating, when Yaya was brought in,
so Yaya Samba Wolo Dola Konoji.
Yaya was taken to another hall there.
So Urakaba Wulunam.
They stripped him completely naked.
So it had
they went and cut some lime.
Ani Franco vinegar.
Plus some vinegar.
Ani isansote.
Plus some petrol.
So yake cotton over.
And it was put on a cotton.
So and
I was also brought into the hall.
So say and
now they wanted to that's what they wanted to do was to put that into his anus.
Immediately.
And if you do that to a person, he dies immediately.
So when they were unable to do that to him,
but did they try?
They tried very well to do it.
Why didn't they succeed?
It might be Allah's intervention.
Did Yaya Drame, did he submit or he resisted?
For Yaya Drame, Balantara bang for I find to Ibul.
He didn't resist. How can you resist when there were many people against you. Because his right hand was bent and twisted until it was broken.
Who did that?
Many of them were in there, soldiers, Lamin Jobate and others. A lot of them surrounded him. They surrounded him and were standing over him.
Let me ask you this question. You know Lamin Jobate is a trained lawyer. Do you know that?
No, I know that.
You know Harisambu is also trained in the law. These people know that torturing is a serious offense. Samsar was a very senior officer of the Gambia Armed Forces, of the Gambia National Army. All these people know that torturing is prohibited. Are you suggesting that all these people with that knowledge sat there and participated in your torture?
They had no knowledge, because if they had the knowledge at that time, they wouldn't have participated. But if they had the knowledge also, then it was useless to them. They wouldn't have done what they did.
So wato tolka manjero wala mo bari ya jamelo palaso nyindila so do hola dictero nye so to lafta palaso do anin torno so kondo bangu din jawle ro bangu din kendol.
What they were doing, it was for a position, because Yaya Jammeh gave them this position, so they were doing it to please him. So they took us as the bad elements of the country, so they were the good ones for the country.
So this Yaya, you said they tried to insert that object into his anus, but they did not succeed.
Iko ya katala puruka nyimfengota kadunde akoma, but ima keno.
And you said that they pushed his palm, his hand, basically backwards until they broke it.
Andu iko ya ila imbuluteto fana mulukondi uteto mutata ya ngaji fo ya kati.
Yes.
Do you know what else they did to him?
Yala na nyinku fulol kola fo ye kudo fana kala leba.
Je kay tochorun kay containers banda na lewa nyokano je wolumol nina biriyo kay ma soksi ya blokari e ba soksi so after o kola ina ramura wala nyama ka onko fuka afai bamba dinka.
Well, after all this torturing, when they were unable to insert that object into his anus, and they went on until they broke his hand, then when all those failed to make him talk, they decided to take him and throw him into Bambadinka.
And
handcuffed him.
Yes.
Handcuffed him and threw him into Bambadinka. And what happened to you?
Yo, biro bodaye.
After that.
So so
they came back to me and started asking me, and during that beating I talked.
So when
I talked,
so
I told them I was part of the team.
I already very
Because already I knew that when Yaya saw me, I knew that he recognized me.
So I
said to them, yes, I was one of them.
So
that was the time they went on asking me.
So
when they were asking me,
and
that's the time when I narrated the whole thing to them, how I came into the Gambia, I went to my father, I explained all that to them.
So it had arrest.
So they went and arrested my father.
So I wasn't
there, but as I was told, our compound.
Soldiers
Soldiers came and surrounded the whole compound when they were arresting my father.
Hold a second. Let's take it a step backwards. In describing your torture for the second day, did, apart from beating you, did they put anything on you?
No, they didn't do anything like that until when they brought my father.
They brought my
father and one of my sisters called Nyomo Jamme. And another lady who was brought from Soma with her child, but I don't know them.
So afterwards,
that was the time when they forced me again. They wanted me to say that Jawara was part of it and Sehu Sabali.
So
they said by force those people were part of the attempt, so I have to say that.
Who told you that?
Jobate and Fodebari.
Are you certain? Yes, I told them that these people, I don't know them, and I cannot say anything like that. Just to save my skin.
Save my life.
But when they brought my father, plus my sister Nyomo Jamme, plus another lady from Soma, I don't know her.
Okay, just a moment. Before you confessed being involved, as part of the torture, did they connect you to any particular object? Yes, they did that. So that I can talk. Even during the beatings, they did that to me. Yes, they electrocuted me sometimes. Yes, they were doing that, electrocuting me. It went on for so many times in those 2 days. Sometimes they will put it in my ear, sometimes under the sole of my feet. The electrocution device, to what was it connected, as far as you know? Yes, they put it, it's just wires fixed to a plug.
So yeah, so yeah, so yeah,
they will come and put it on your leg or in your ear, on your ear. The time when we were there, that's how they were torturing us.
Did they burn you with anything?
Yes, I'm coming to that also. When they brought my father, plus my sister,
so
it was the time they brought me out of Bambadinka. After bringing me out of Bambadinka, they stripped me in front of my father.
Mr. Witness, I am sorry about this. Are you able to proceed?
Yes, I can continue.
If at any point you feel that you cannot continue, please let us know.
I will be able to continue.
Thank you very much. Proceed, please.
When I was brought, my father was sitting down. My sister was there. There was another lady who was arrested in Soma with her child. So the knicker or the underwear I had was taken off me, and I was stark naked in front of my father. So they tied my hand. So and they tied me just as when they are about to slaughter a cow. So when they did that to me, so they brought a bag. So they gave Joe Mendy this plastic bag. So I told them they were the people standing over me for the Barry Joe Mendy and Baba Dindin Jobate. So they lighted this plastic bag and were putting it on my body so that I can talk. When they put light to it and when it was burning, that oil or that liquid from the burning plastic will be stripping on me. So that's what they were doing. So Baba Dindin took one of my breasts and cut it off with a razor blade.
Excuse me, Mr. Witness. What do you mean by what you have just said?
He just cut off one of my breast with a razor blade because of wickedness.
So you mean to say that one of your nipples is gone, but because Baba Dindin Jobate took a razor blade and cut it off?
Yes.
Mr. Witness, you are on the oath.
I have sworn, and I will not tell lies against him. Because when he came and found me in the jail, I told him that I can forgive, but I will never forget. And wherever I am asked, I will narrate it.
How did he respond?
He just bent his head. There's nothing he can do.
Are you willing, Mr. Witness, to show this to the commission?
Yes,
Very well.
really, very well.
Go ahead.
Attendant ya itandi commission.
In the meantime, Mr. Chairman, I have pictures, so I would share the pictures for the commissioners to have a better look. Could you show the commission? And let this be filmed, please. Mr. Witness, you don't mind it being filmed and showed to the public, do you?
For abenyi ngaka ni na rara kele bulu kolia de puru ya fintindi television o dunia be ajam fo abekola lebul.
No problem.
No problem.
Please go ahead.
Attendant woro.
To the chair. The left breast.
Sunju mara sunju lambang.
Yes, it's the left breast.
I think it's
The left
quite
nipple.
obvious that something is missing on the left breast. The nipple is missing.
Sunju no nyingo kunduda jele.
Batije.
But what are those spots just below your breast?
Sunju nyin duma o markor membeje mulan wolti.
Those marks were caused by liquid of burning plastic.
Was what we went to Cholaten.
Because when they were torturing me,
So ikonyo ko ite futu kala kotek.
they told me you will never get married again.
Domendi konyo ko nini itala.
Jomendi told me that if we deal with you,
Ite futu kala kotek forever.
you will never be able to function as a man, never again until you die.
Kaya ko ali al talaf.
I told him, you said what you intend.
Ma Allah Taala man so la kuma ko mai.
But I haven't heard it from Allah.
Allah ko nte futu nola.
If Allah says that I will not be able to function as a man again,
Dakera.
well, that's what will happen.
Fama be siri.
My father was sitting down.
Fama kumbora.
My father cried.
Fama ko.
My father told them,
Ala kebaro.
his deeds,
Mamba akalama.
I wasn't aware of it.
Ba konta la wulu.
But saying that I am his father,
De la wulu.
yes, I am his father,
Abirun dunya.
from this world
Yomal kiyama.
till the next world.
Ari ajame bravo kudeta kela.
Because when Yaya Jammeh was taking over this country,
Masara la wulu Allah.
he didn't inform his parents.
So nyumfana masarandela.
This man also didn't inform me.
Randa fala ko puraita.
If he had told me, I wouldn't allow him to do it.
Ta inara kuma kan jawul fam fama.
And they told my father very hard words.
Anara kem fama bulu sasate.
Then my father became sick after.
Ani sa fama ma fan soro no
Up to this time.
Adara out of conscience.
Up to this time,
Let him sit down.
my father cannot recover. Up to this moment, he is just like that.
Mr. Witness.
Sedo.
Mr. Witness, before you wear your clothes,
Janni bela dum fangol dunna. Dunno ko dondi ko dunna.
did they do anything to you below your nipple, below your belly button?
Fo kukela le bang batakuma ye du mala fo ila tilimbali afutata jele bang.
Ambara kuma duma because ndar le fola bang fam bukan sumuna no man jan.
Yes, there was a time when I cannot even urinate because they treated me in many different ways.
Thank you. Mr. Chair, I have pictures of that too.
Thanks.
Please wear your clothes and be seated.
Balo Kante aketu kende ke bara baraka amani information meni commission la bara haketu.
Mr. Chair, I have provided the Commission with a set of pictures just showing the types of scars on the witness's body. Balo Kante,
Balo Kante.
No.
who would you say are the people who are responsible for all this suffering you went through at the NIA? All of them.
Ite ba fola jumala tarta marling nyum kuola nyin dete jawo ni nyum kolea jawol men late kan NIA nyum molbe iba fola jumala ma kunduko be jwala marla kola.
Name all of them.
Ibe tofo.
Baba Dini Njobate.
Baba Dini Njobate. Fode Bari.
Salmino
Drame.
Hari Sambu. Samsar. Joe Mendy. Ninja. Baby.
They were there.
Thank you very much.
Number.
But as at the time they were doing all this to you,
What
in the presence of your father,
ben beke kangla ifama nyati lingola.
where were these women that you mentioned,
Muso le yemenu 12 foten.
who you said were also arrested?
Iko yemenu fana muta.
Ebe sirinje na sister lam dore.
They were sitting there.
Musudoni mawolo nde arrest na Somal.
The other one was my sister. The other woman, I don't know her, but she was arrested from Soma.
There was also a child, you said.
Yes, the lady had a child. She was arrested from Soma.
And was the child also present when you were being tortured? When you were being spread like a cow under the slaughter, as you put it?
Dinno nyum fana be mabere nunu bang wato men ko yemuda ye city ko ye lande ko ka nizo lande nyame ni bina kanatela.
Sise susu dimola babulu fangsa yani wala arrest na.
Dinno nyum be mabere njila kenyi ngawal.
Yes, the
child was there because the child was a suckling child. The child was suckling. I don't know how many months or years did that child have, but the child was suckling.
So my sister is called
Nyomo Jamme.
Tocho kela na waro yen ura kombai ulo nyama mfama nyatlo ani tol be nyatlo ngola je so mfama kumbora ko ali fen jala ndala wulu de ali fen ko kabirun duna fo kiam ndala wulu mu wulu de ngola dundan bannato mu fen kera lan tan bannato ndal wulu de.
Yes, but then it happened in the presence of all these people I mentioned. But when they were doing this to me, the time they stripped me naked, my father cried and told them, well, he is my biological son. Whatever you do to him, okay, but I will never reject him. He is my son.
And you told us earlier that something happened to your father.
Ye mfonye ko mangton ko kuzuranda benkete ifamala.
Ye kumakanja wol fam fama ye. So adi ko do me alon ko anata kam fama out of concept because I'm fama be damon do dal amandra mol kono dal.
Yeah, they told him many hard words which later traumatized him to the point of being somebody who is not mentally balanced nowadays.
Because before na do ma do beji.
Because even today, I have one of my younger brothers.
Sana is staying in jail.
Sana is staying there.
So I had to cut farmer bala purkam farmer ma dindini.
He's always there to help my father plus my stepmother.
So I find ko biradia morabi.
I informed him that I am going to do my testimony today.
So because hadamadi mankanya.
Because people are not equal.
So janim moro bira ba fulai nyado na kudo siama koteke.
Before somebody will go and explain it to him in another way, and which might create another problem for him. I told him to be near him all the time. Before he will think that I am in a problem or something has happened to me which might cause another problem for him.
Up to this moment, up to the point you confessed,
did
you receive any medical attention?
Ani na follow after being called back, huh?
No, they didn't give me.
Just answer that question.
No.
Okay. So, at what stage were you made to make a statement on GRTS?
Wadi jumalem inara ne fidindi purita kuma kan di GRTS.
Brian torturing begana for parade.
After all this torturing until they were ready,
Arondani ya drama.
by that time I was there with Yaya Drame.
So waro nai modoli mol someone follow. Umar Dampanyol Karasile Marsa and Esabal.
Because by that time the orders haven't arrived yet. Esa and Omar Damfa, they have not yet arrived.
Suleiman Sar.
And Suleiman Sar.
So waro endulmo follow samba telero.
That was the time when the two of us were taken in front of the TV.
So waro mbalo vejanirin so muso me ya bonga kaji jeka ji.
And that time, my body was burnt, and even if you look properly at that time, there were some water drips coming out of my body.
So waro le yo kana na fulanya wo time mbuka atare for almost 1.5 days mbuka sumuna keno.
And that was the time it went up till 1.5 days. I'm unable to urinate.
So he left a pipe or sambalana purka bulana.
He wanted to bring a pipe so that I can be able to urinate.
So honey.
I said to them, no, I refused.
Because no one there stand up for around Tinyal.
They might damage me.
So
When I rejected that, and that was the time if I have water to drink,
so
I always recite something and spit it inside the water and drink it until Allah helped me to be able to urinate. That's how it happened.
I am interested in how your statement on GRTS was done.
Sularine ka long ila kuma kan wonyin mi men di GRTS teleto akeno ra nyaadi le.
How was it organized?
Ya ko nyi landi nyaadi le.
Aku ni comme je to liya ga don ilaftala nyamando.
Well, they organized it as the way they want it to appear.
That's
how they decided to do it.
Who decided on what you were to say on GRTS?
Jumale kango di be ko wala kuma kango be memfola teleto.
Yen to bonna ena ele comme ça ya yitandina ko aliya memfo buri ben to chola waro men memfo je. What
they told me was that during the torturing session after I confessed, they told me to repeat the same words in front of the GRTS cameras.
So do okono force la purka irandiko jawra dawe ndola kudeta lo wala seku sabal dawe yandunda mawolno.
And in that they made it a force on us to say that Jawara was also involved with Sehu Sabali. And I didn't know those people. That's how they did it.
Did you say that?
I said it. It's even in my statement, it's there. Because by the time I was doing this, I was not myself.
Because
Because the time when they were torturing me was the time when they were writing that statement.
Do you recall the person who was writing the statement?
Lamin Jawari.
Do you recall who told you to say that Jawara and Sehu Sabali were involved in the attack?
For Hekilo Samurano, Jumale Yininkaro, Wardo Jumale of Kafu Yafoko, Jawara in Sehu Sabala, Dabalo, Idabalo, Boinka Unikonal.
Whatever.
Was he alone? Was he the only person who said it?
Adam Male of Banfo?
At Lem Moribra of Fodron, so Musobe Job, Ninja Banka Baffling,
Yes.
Ninitalat.
He was the person who said that, and by that time, Joe was having this nylon bag which was burning, and he was spilling this nylon burnt liquid nylon on me, saying that, speak, if I am ready with you, you will not be able to function as a man again.
Who else told you to say that Jawara and Sabali were involved?
Watakola Jumala fana yo fwe puri ite ya foko Jawara ni Seku Sabali daba boinga onyikonole.
Ngamo 4 days la time.
At that time I had it only from 4 days.
Okay. Earlier on you told us that Baba Dindin Jabate also said so. Which is which?
Ko man to ye info nyela ko baba dindi joba dafa na ye info ne pour yafo sa jumale jumati
it will move lobe afa yalla ma fo wata kilon la.
Yes, all of them said this, but it was not at the same time.
But you are certain that both of them said it?
Yes. Nyimbe sabatri kono le ko mo fulo be yafo le.
Yes.
You are on the oath?
Be kalole ko le.
Wallahi be kalo ko nta kan la le hanina statement on ya jiwe ba tarraje.
I swear I know that I am on the oath. Even in my statement, if you check, you will find it there.
Okay. All right. So, the confession you made on television,
Yes, menge ka for television or
was it voluntary?
for ayake dianyole kamba.
Ani ko magandi an nyoko because it all len sambaje ndo.
No.
Courier wrong because magandi an by sembo betol bulokon.
No.
So for say courier sambaje eta diam.
No, it was against my will because they had power in their hands, and I had no choice, and that's what they wanted. So they took me there and made me say these things.
After your confession,
What
happened? After you were presented before the GRTS, what happened?
So kola inara murundana NIA.
After that, I was brought back to the NIA.
So Ndundi Bambadinga ni Yaya.
I was placed in Bambadinka, myself and Yaya Drame.
So Ngatra Bambadinga je.
So we went on at continued staying at Bambadinka.
So wokono.
During that period,
Inara try puru Dr. Rol Kanandol.
They tried and made it possible for doctors to come and check us there.
So Dr. Dola Kabonande RBH.
Some doctors come from the RVTH.
So Kanaje.
They come there.
So Karwar on the Lambalo, Abe Malata, Abe Palpalta Fuji Kabal.
Because at that time, all my body was burnt, and in fact, some water was dripping out of some of the sores on my body.
So Arovana is a Nani Simofana, Keso Madamendo.
And also my leg, where I was shot with a gun bullet.
So Arovana Keso Manjara Lo sort of a yellow kabinja.
And around that time, there was still a bullet lodged in my leg, and it was bleeding too.
So Aro I can check it in.
Yes, those doctors used to come there to check us.
So it for Alalde Maronar.
That's what they were doing until when Allah's help arrived.
Tarraje Kabri November.
We were there since from November,
December, January. So Malon January till July not transfer mile to.
I cannot remember which day it was in January when they transferred us to Mile 2.
Up to this stage, have you seen a lawyer?
Oh, your lawyer, Jelabang?
Nobody mentions a lawyer at that time.
What time of soldier role men from all country, so a soldier role someone special men can an paral and in police all.
In fact, in those days, they brought in police, soldiers, and members of the paramilitary unit to guard us.
Because another point killing
I forgot one point, in fact.
When we were
in Bambadinka, after the torturing session, there was a day when I was sitting inside Bambadinka. I was listening to the radio, and I heard my own obituary being read over Radio Gambia.
So it will follow you Bambadinga, Radio Gambia.
They brought me out, and they themselves were questioning me. Who took this obituary to Radio Gambia?
For policeman or over an Birkama.
Until one policeman came from Brikama. He was among those who were guarding us. But a very good person. I forgot his name. But he once traveled and went to Basse. So the night he came back, his sons or his children told him, it was announced over GRTS that Balo has died. They said his corpse has been taken to Pakali today. The following morning, early, that man came to the NIA and went to Bambadinka and asked them, where is Balo?
So I told him, I wanted to do so I go over. So telephone and kai and telephone mo jane ba fo kan ata fon findina na sin that low at low.
Then the reply they gave him was that well, we also had this announcement from this here, from the place here, and in fact we brought him out and talked to him, but it was announced over the radio.
So when you were taken now to Mile 2 prison, where were you detained?
Biri yesamba Mile 2 Kasibumbato. Yesamba Mintole, Kesindi.
Yes, Samba confinement number 1.
I was taken to confinement number 1.
VIP or below VIP?
VIP mo kumal lagi samba dame to bang fo amang kany mo ndingol men man kumaya ba ge samba dame.
Ani je kay comme c'est ka ni isa fono comme ka ni ben man sakunda dunda ñore comme c'est ma anya so ni man sakunda dunda ñola e ka comme ça jongol dal.
Well, just like slaves, people who were not in good terms with the government, they were treated like slaves, and a place where they took us to was a place only fit for slaves.
Could you describe the conditions?
Dingrani yalma bo dame do foisi jel al halo ni sa phone ake baro ni ake nyani phone no nyamba
because ndolbe damando
because where we were kept
bunda sabala bendol nin dolu fanante
there were 3 doors between us and the others.
Labam fanka jeto la Rebel Island.
In the end we called that place as Rebel Island.
Rebel Island?
No, Robert Island. Robert's Island.
Robin Island.
Robin Island.
Yes, Robin Island.
So
that place,
when
we were taken there,
so ibuka so moye frama yika bunda saba fu bunda nan jane be frana normal.
They don't allow people mostly to reach us because you have to pass through 3 to 4 doors before reaching us.
Jane be frana normal
before you reach us.
In your cells,
in a cell or corner,
how were you sitting there? Were you restrained or you were free?
Itarra sirin nunje nyali la fo itarra sirin na bang fo betar be fande bu
birin dol fura radio jolo amanke anko voti de amanke anko voti de jolo
when we reached there, the type of restraint they put on slaves, that was the type of restraints, chain irons, which were put on us, not handcuffs. That's what they attached on our legs and on our hands.
So that's
how we were inside those cells.
How long did it take in your detention before these chains were removed?
I what jelelta itarra Morocco no wato menna janni benyi chenol bondile bulol bala bate singo bala
yo janni ben chenol bondilam bulol bala ya amra o man sa on fa bang because bere yen sambaje
I thought it might be up to 1 year because from the time we were taken there, these chains were put on us until we started going to court. When we are about to go to the court, we go with these chains because myself and my people, I was the first accused person.
So
whenever we were going, as we will go into the truck with them, they escort us with their armor cars,
so escort
and that's how they take us all the way to the court.
So
we go into the box with those chains.
Just so-called judges about
I can say there were only so-called judges, about 3 sitting in front of us.
What do you mean by so-called judges?
You know, so-called judges.
Because the reason why I said that, because although I didn't go to school, formal schooling, I didn't do it, but I know it might be against the law for somebody who has been taken to court to still be restrained like that.
Okay. During this, in the meantime, your other colleagues, what happened to them?
Fo watola imo nyodo ko tawno mun na na ke wonna
na mo nyo jumalu
Damfa,
okay
Sar, Aning Balde.
Newol bebe sila kelon kam be kata nyola be na nyola
The question is, at what stage were they apprehended?
akamin ni ka yol muta wa ko wati jumal
okay wol fana ye to arrest nang ye samana NIA ye ranu NIA.
Yes, they were also arrested and brought to the NIA, but they found us at the NIA.
Do you know whether they were tortured at the NIA?
ya ne man fo yol fana tajire ya NIA ba
Ye tajirial mandra nyoka ndabari ye tajirial.
Yes, they were tortured. Although we were not together, but they were tortured.
He tortured because dolbe sel dor fana be sel dor
Because
ni be mo tortured jama be ni haklo ka wor ka mo le ka lon ko jumani.
yes, and during those torture sessions, although we were in a different cell, but you can hear their screams and you can recognize the voice.
While you were at NIA,
yambo men na benung NIA
did you give a confession about the guns, the hunting rifles that you received?
fo I sonda nyin na laban kido nyin na koro mem munji o kido nyin na koro ban ka ko ya sota laban
Cartouche yetunkang.
Wo nga o foje nga fo.
Yes, I mentioned it there.
Did you tell them the name of the person who made them?
ya fo enda ba mo mari nyi meyo kartu sol dada ba
Nga fo na wa comme ça sa nyina ra to la bar nga fo je le.
Yes, I said it, but right now I forgot the name, but I mentioned it to them there.
Does the name Sehu Kamara ring a bell?
ning Seku Kamara to moy fo si yakilo bulande moto la ba
Wala fam.
Yes, he's the very guy.
Do you know what happened to him?
yalla na munana kedala ba
Ko birin dole afara fanya attaque ton bar nga to fo don itara arrest na aning dinde mo me yalla ko sanji tani sey kabiro do mani yo fana arrest na aning kabiro do mani mbe keba men bulo fara fane so yo fana arrest na.
Yes, the moment I mentioned his name, they went and arrested him. They arrested the young man who was Kabiro's younger brother, the guy who was 18 years old, and they also arrested the landlord. And the landlord where the man was staying.
The landlord?
Yes, the landlord.
What has the landlord got to do with it?
All they said was that was the place where we stayed. That's why he was arrested.
Okay. Do you know what happened to
I forgot one point. The yard owner was arrested along with his wife.
the wife too?
Yes.
Do you know what happened to Kamara?
Yeah,
to
no.
Seku Kamara?
muna kera Seku Kamara la ba
So Kamara, when he was brought there, he really suffered. Because they took him to another place. I think he stayed at that place for some time, and I think he was tortured there.
Do you know whether he is still alive?
ya na fo hani kabi fo abe balure ba
Yes, Kamara, I heard that he has passed away.
Do you know how soon he passed after his torture at NIA?
ya la ne bang pirin ya muta ya sama na NIA ya tajire ya je abulare ko la wati jel delta janning abe banna
It didn't take long.
1 month, 2 months?
killing karifula
If it maximum, I can say it will be not more than 3 months.
But of course, this is hearsay.
bari ni mum moyla quality kuma kanwalti
Yes.
And while you were at mile 2,
tembo me labe no mile tu tembo me labe no mile tu fo e tumirde kango dale banka fo e nyine tinyo luwala karola ba
ani ngawat kejele jani ibe charge so ni sambalana.
No, we were there for some time before they brought on those charges.
How long?
Wati jel delta janni be tumir kaytol nat lal kan
tumur kayro ni ngamira insafo no ngamira karkelin kejele wala tumando war namiror go sumang nyina da ku jamana ba namiror nga karkelin kejele wala men siarawri so time olem inata charges so ni samana.
As far as I can remember, I think we spent 1 month or even more than that. But I cannot remember everything exactly. But I can say about that, that was the time when these charges were brought, either 1 month or a little bit after that.
Could you tell us the conditions in the cell, the conditions of the cell you were detained in?
mile 2 or NIA council
At mile 2?
ako fo si selo nyina al halo mile 2 fo si je fo no nyabanga jebe nyaadi le
Yendol samba selo men do selo nyindo yata.
The cell where we were put in is a very small cell.
O selo ni
That cell,
biriyan sambaje
when we were taken into that cell,
nga babar yaro tranunje babaro ka wala ni comme ça babar telam.
it was a plank of wood which we found inside there.
So babar telam ni
That plank of wood
so ngalla wala kan.
was what we used to lie down on.
So mbeje mbajatem bulde
We were there and we had no blankets,
fendem bul.
nothing else.
Beje fo nga kumas kata court.
We were there until we started going to court.
So waro mbitaje ndol bitaje waro men nga sisele traje.
Juma Sise.
Sandarmo koro man fo Modi Sise.
The time when we were going there, we found somebody called Modu Sise. He was one time a gendarme officer.
But at the time mamme.
But he was not there for a long time.
Waro nimbita court.
So at that time when we were going to court,
Ninkurtu sutungola kata.
we used to go with short trousers,
Singenzo.
barefoot,
And jolo.
and also chained.
So lundo sorora.
So one day,
So Sise naraje ko ngangkara nyame.
Sise came there just when we were about to go.
So anara la officer doke akayeteta samaro sanna.
He sent one of his officers and told him to go and buy a pair of shoes for me.
But biri samaro nyi samana.
But when these shoes were brought,
Musa sembo dal.
because he was not that powerful,
Biri samaro nyi ngam adanda lungkulini le abusin.
I think I wore those shoes only one day and it was taken away from me.
So ngara court wanyama.
That's how we went on going to court.
Yo bari jani mbira court no time charge so nyi.
But before we went to court, the charges,
Ika chewdo Pambai.
there was a man called Pambai.
And the interior minister member hearing this right now.
And the interior minister presently, who is the present interior minister,
It will charge so somebody in mile 2.
they brought the charges for us at mile 2.
So very charge so nyi samana.
When these charges were brought,
And what is the name of the interior minister?
Yankuba Songo.
Yankuba Sonko.
All he did was to come and bring the charges to you.
ay membe ke wala nyindiron ka tumir kayto nyinka nati kasoro je do ngay wala ke
Yes, yes.
Ya wala somebody na charge comme ça biri na re ko nyako ngana pour ngali charge.
And that's what he said to us. When he came, they said, we are sent here to come and prepare these charges for you.
Inaran charge.
And we were charged.
Treason charge.
Treason.
9 charges in charge wala.
Yellow?
9 charges
9 counts of treason.
In charge wala.
That's what we were charged with.
In charge.
I want to know the conditions of the cell. Okay, were you allowed to have shower?
lafta selo nyin al halo nyin lonna fo e ka silo di ala lon pour aliye kuba
Ikara fo ndol taraje fo karwo.
We were there up to 6 months.
Manjelam fadawa.
We never had the chance to take showers.
6 months?
karworo
Yes.
So karwo kono.
Within those 6 months,
Buka findi de.
you don't go out.
Ye comme ça ni kalono me katulo keje.
Just like these small oil gallons.
Nyomenga ngamara liter muanda.
I think the 20 liter,
So e ka wala kundun tema.
That's what they cut in half. When it was cut off, they will give one half to the other man and the other half to somebody else. That's where you do your everything. So in daybreak, when it is daylight, so the mess boys who are there, so 6 months, so within those 6 months, those mess boys are the people who will come and collect those things and go and empty them. So after they were emptied, they will bring them back. And when lunch is also brought, just like if you have a sheep in a house, so just how you treat a sheep, you will just come and put the food inside. If your food is placed inside, they lock up the door.
You were under seal pretty much.
Ha. Yes.
For how long? It went nearly up to 2 years. And in fact, the thing went on until I became fair-colored. So if you touch my skin, it burns like pepper. So that's the type of condition we were in at that time. How about the food?
No, that's not at all good. Because by the time when we were going to mile 2, and in those days they used to cook couscous for dinner and they will put corned beef on it. So when they knew that we are coming, there was somebody who they used to call Sefla.
What's his first name?
Yeah, Jaju. Yeah, Jaju.
Yes, proceed.
So, they changed everything. So by the time of Anna, but at that time also, Sise was there, but Sise didn't stay there long. And there was a short old man from Sukutra, Ndau. But it's Ndau. A short old man. But I think that was organized by that man so that we will not get good food. So you don't get good food at all. That's how we were there. So for until there was a problem in the jail there. The day we were sentenced to death, they said we should be killed. That was the day. That problem occurred in the prison. So that's how Morisise was removed from the prison. And David was put in charge.
So David who?
David Colley. David Colley.
Was he a good prison manager?
For ila londoro David Colley nyatonka kendo la mbande kasibungoro jeba amankata wala fa
far from that.
What do you mean?
Ila ko tombonati
David ngalo fondana ngato la nga fa John Furune ne prison jama nga ba ndel ka fa John Furune.
David, I knew him to a level that I gave him a nickname called John Furunding.
What is that? What is John Furunding? What is Furunding?
John Furunding.
John Furunding. Comme ça au molti donc ala bere abali comme ça man bere aron.
Just somebody who is bad. That's why I just gave him that name.
Okay, so you were in mile 2 and now you are sentenced to death.
Yes.
Yes.
What happened? Did anything happen to any of your colleagues?
Mune keta im do ko do nyo ko tangol la foko kete le bang.
Yo fana be soro wala nya ko nyante fala.
Yes, they were all locked up and said they should be killed.
But janni be sorona.
But before we were locked up,
at na court that's domandindro.
just a little bit before our court was to start,
Nyinara sasa yaya.
Yaya became sick.
Janni even sentence o pass la.
Before they passed the sentence on us,
So yaya nara sasa sort.
Yaya became sick.
Of what?
Internal bleeding.
Internal bleeding.
This internal bleeding, how did he get it?
Internal bleeding ye mempo asoro nyaadi le.
Liparo.
Because of the beatings.
Asoro.
That's how he got it.
And then what happened to him eventually?
Muna na kala ko nyi nyala bang.
Birim kaso kono so birim torturing mama nda kono bira o soto don.
When we were in the jail and after these torturing things started to have a toll on him,
Ala selo kono je because joloba bulola joloba singol.
inside his cell there, because his leg was restrained by an iron chain, likewise his hand.
So till danda inara bondi asamba ila headquarters.
A few days later, he was removed from there and taken to their headquarters.
Ila wolo dole veje alandi wolto tono.
There was a place where they decided to lay him down,
Keno ba bulola keno ba singol.
and still his leg and hand were chained.
Go sasa nyimma me because sasa ya ma dimaso anyen dimaso na afar.
Because it didn't take him long. He became sick on a Sunday and he died the following Sunday.
Would you say he died or he was killed?
Ba folo ko afata le bang fo ya fale.
Puto adam bara ya bondi je asamba ular.
Well, because he was removed from the cell and taken to that other place.
Maybe to la ya labanjele no.
I can say that they finished him up from at that point.
Bara o sa so kaya akayelo mem bondi. No.
You know, you can see that when he became sick, the type of blood that comes out of him.
From where? Which part of it?
Balo mi do yelo ga findi damendo.
Akayelo findi na do mola akayelo findi na dara.
He was bleeding from his backside, his mouth.
Akayelo findi ni vela.
Yeah, he was bleeding from all these parts.
Babira faraje.
But when he died,
Wala safo biri itol isafo itol la far no.
I can say they killed him.
So biri okay already.
After they did that,
So after Donarata court,
then after that we went to court.
Birimbira court in Maji.
When we were going to court, we didn't see him.
But Atanga Kibaro soro ko afara.
But already we had information that he had died.
By Dunia Dauda mo kendo vejere.
Because wherever you go in this world, there will be a good person.
So Birindara court,
When we went to court,
Jojo Narangi Narafo Yale.
so these judges asked about him. They said, "Where is Yaya?"
So your doctor Odo Kumandinanji.
So one doctor was called.
So your doctor Oni,
This doctor,
Yanginga.
he was asked.
Ako ya fara hospital.
He said Yaya died at the hospital.
If ele wuli abafu.
I said in my mind, you have just told a big lie.
Iman sila alala, iman sila ye wuli abafu ini Allah Taala masote.
You are not even afraid of Allah. You are not afraid of anything. You decide to stand here and tell this big lie.
Quoting Adlon Leko Faraji.
And the man died in prison, and now you come to the court and said he died in a hospital.
Yo, Byron Dolbe court Kelawato man.
By the time when we were going to court,
Imansom Purun Nina family from Kanyoja function.
they didn't even allow us to see our family members.
By bring for the court, Nalum follow.
Because the first day when we arrived at the courthouse,
Jojo Memphone,
what the judges told us,
George Coker, Nemanja.
if I can remember properly, somebody called George Coker.
Presiding Jojo.
He was the presiding judge.
George follow Babalade. George Savalan by presiding George and George Coker.
The presiding judge was George Coker, but there were two other judges. There were three in number.
So Jojo,
The judge,
Akonyako,
he told us,
I love the jury, Walla love George Saval.
do you want a jury or do you want these three judges?
Guy Condolma love George Savon, love the jury.
I said to him, we don't want these 3 judges, we want a jury.
Ako okay.
He said, okay.
So sa I was have.
He wrote that.
But what at the Malakana?
But at that time, he alone comes.
Murundi mile too.
We were taken back to mile 2.
Osamo.
The following day, when we came back, he said to us, the government said they cannot pay a jury. They will take these 3 judges. But what they will do, your families will not take lawyers for you, and your friends will not acquire the service of a lawyer. All people, my friends, relatives who can take a lawyer for me, they refused and said there will be no lawyer for me. And your court case,
all family members not
even a single person of your family members will attend the court cases. And no civilian will come who will attend the case.
Journalist
and no journalist will be allowed to attend the court.
So it will left just like how they want to do it. So you can soldier.
That's how they take us to court, except with soldiers plus paramilitary.
So you mean the court, there was no audience, the public was not allowed?
No.
Ani tubabu fulabe yenu.
Plus 2 white men were there.
Malon jumale informal on what time.
I don't know who gave them the information at the time.
Tubabu fulon na tambe box okone tambirana.
I saw these 2 white men came. I was in the box. We were in the box and they passed.
Inare dunda courtroom okono.
They came and they entered the courtroom.
Jojo nyungo officer
the judge told the officers to take these white men out.
So would you say this was more or less trial in camera, trial in secret?
I
man love moya long, man love moya kalamudafana. So ni left a men kalandolano. Hani left them fala like secret rock on a sakeno, Mokana kalamuda, na family kana kalamuda, dunia kana kalamuda ya nyamado.
Yes. They were doing it in secret because whatever they wanted to do, maybe they could have even killed us in secret. So this is how everything was going on. They don't allow our family members or anybody to come and attend the case.
You told us that they did not even allow you to choose your own lawyers.
Yeah,
That's what they banned before they even told us that your relatives will attend it.
Did you, in the trial, challenge the admissibility of the confession you made at the NIA?
Iti dula nyinto fo inata na balang ilo songo nyinda labang ye songo menke NIA kiti dingira nyindo fo inata na ofenti ndi jela bang ka fo ko ibalanta njel bari ye force ki NIA
ha kiti dula ro na statement okono ko dolbe je bere ngini ngawola kiti dula nyindo ye balanda wala le.
Yes, at the courthouse they asked me about certain things in our statement. We rejected. We resisted and told them that no. Because the lawyers that were given to us,
Raymond Sok,
and
Hamate,
plus
Hamate,
lady Amate,
and
Amate.
So your lawyer followed, but Janin don't follow the lawyers. But before you have our lawyers,
lawyer time.
There will be no lawyers who is brave enough to stand for us.
Because case land lewaro ya jamela ko darian so rule case landile. So that lawyer mbe fala momo lawyer mbe fala nyum lawyer full just I wakil tal wrong.
They used to scare them.
Ko wakil tal bay mantra hangiring wo fang wol fang mantra wol fang mantra defense no hani 5 minutes.
They just took the case, but they were always scared that anyone who stood for us, they would kill them. And so their representation was not even more than 5 minutes.
Did you show the court the injuries that you sustained in the hands of the NIA?
ye bar mo men so do NIA bulo kono fo yayi tandi kiti dingira nyi dole ba
nga itandi kiti laro ma akisa bu yalo men fo ne ko nyako eni bar mo borana la beriale.
I showed it to them at the court, but they would not accept. They told me that I came with those injuries from Liberia.
Including your missing nipple?
ani sunjo fana men fana kundura yo fana ko fana no baraji
be fo keso e ma damanda be ngawura ko ngawura je nyamen tay ngawura je wala nya
All of it, just as I undressed here, the same way I undressed there.
Do you believe you had a fair trial?
fo ila ta nyinna lako ila kitiyo nyinga nin tilimo la taraba
man kata wala fansa
Not close to it at all.
You believe you were convicted even before you set foot in that court?
munde de jigide nyinna lako sorondiro ye soron hani jannite be fudalo kiti dingira nyindo
ya ke wala nya
Yes, that was how they did it.
andol fon biri en konde mu yin ko be la ke ngalongo e ben soronal adu faro fo ngaw ngi lay mako dol ko bimrenta rabalo may la comme ala tamal niyatiro.
Yes, and in fact, we even contemplated being killed. For me to be here today, we did not even believe I would get to this day.
Thank you very much. Subsequently, you were serving death sentence. Did anything happen to your sentence later?
No sorondro kunara na chala because very yani ben sentence la atandene na mol ni ben nin kala ndal follow ka diam so we can box on ko non 2 days ben fan defense ka so very en soron fana beje from somehow e ko nyako ingal soron death sentence.
Yes, in fact, amongst our people, when they are asking questions, I was the one who used to respond. So for 2 days, I gave my until I was told that we were going to be in prison.
So,
while we were imprisoned, when they were sentencing us, what they told us was that it was a death sentence and that we were going to be killed.
Within 25 days.
And that was going to be within 25 days. If your appeal is not successful, we will kill you. But before we kill you,
Minister of Justice,
the Minister of Justice, at the time it was Hawasise Sabali,
so Minister of Justice
and whatever Minister of Justice is in office at that time would sign that document.
But you sentenced wrong.
But as soon as we were sentenced,
I till resigned.
I think it was just for a couple of days and she resigned. She resigned her position.
And then?
So when we came to the prison, and we were serving our sentence,
25 days
before the 25 days,
so appeal
the appeal came out.
So
when the appeal came,
so that appeal
we went to the appeal.
So appeal
but that appeal,
so in
then they told us that came from Yaya Dabo, judge's mouth. He came to ourselves and said to me, your appeal has come, but now you will not secure the services of a lawyer. Your relatives too will not secure the services of a lawyer for you. The government will give you a lawyer. I said, really? And they said, yes. I told him, well, you just see how you want it and do it that way. But before they could get a lawyer, we used to go to the court and come back, and it took a long time before they could secure a lawyer for us. Until one man called Matthew Mendy, he represented the 4 of us.
So Matthew Mendy,
he tried a lot.
Martin Mendy.
Martin for Matthew.
Martin Mendy.
Martin nam from Matthew.
Martin Mendy, ha.
Martin Mendy, yes.
And but Abandale.
He is now late.
He's now there, yeah. So, well, another lawyer, Karanya back.
He defended us and he tried a lot.
Honey, during the appeal waro.
Even the payment during the appeal.
When I touch or bait and that.
During the appeal, I showed him all my torture.
But Hanuanya, Defana, a quota, doing the court.
Despite all of that, he started the case. But they would not accept it.
So, being court in Banda.
After the court came to an end,
another for Allah sentence or Alman sentence sort of that.
he said, your sentence has been waived, now we don't have a sentence. The government said that they will not release you.
International Court of Justice,
London. That they will take your case to the International Court of Justice in London.
Privy Council.
Yes, exactly, that's the place. That was where they took our case to. When they took our case there, we were there.
So 2000.
2000. They sent documents.
So
what they sent, they showed them that we were acquitted and discharged. So for them to release us.
So by Wolf only lawyer din naje ka do Dauda and Andrew Thomas. Wallo tobe suffering kaito nyamba.
They provided us lawyers called Dauda and Andrew Thomas.
So by iko
but they said that they will not release us.
But are you sure about this?
Yeah, already.
They told us already that they will not release us. Judge said this to me, that the government said they will not release you, but they will take your case to another court.
Wasn't it the case that your sentence was reduced to life imprisonment instead of death?
Fo nyina manga ko nyinti bang Allah sorondiro nyingi nata na talale ka bondi ko nyantal fala ya bondi odo ko say albidal albal siyo bele la kasor.
Martin Mendy ya men fondole.
No, what Martin Mendy said to us,
akonya ko the life hotel law no la.
He said that the life sentence cannot stand. Because what will make it stand, those charges were not brought here. That cannot stand because the charges have to come with evidence which can make it stand.
So while we
are in detention, we did not wear the uniform of the inmates. We were dressed in our civilian clothes.
So detention 2004.
So we were in that detention up to 2004. When Charles Taylor's government was ousted, the people that were there, when they came,
so
they arrested Abulai Sonko in Nyomi Berending.
So
when they brought him,
so Abulai for treason charges.
Abulai too was charged for treason.
After Abulai attacking Kerano.
At the time that we did the attack,
Abulai escaped.
Abulai had escaped and returned back to Liberia. When Charles Taylor's government was no longer in power and he returned, that was when he was arrested in Nyomi Berending.
So
and they brought him to Mile 2. When they brought him to Mile 2,
so Abeje,
he was there. He was going to court and coming back.
So
according to what he told me, the first lawyer that his family secured for him was Hussein Dabo.
So
when they secured that lawyer for him,
so I
think that went for a little while.
So another family.
He called him and the family. He said to them, the way he saw the court proceeding, they could not charge him for treason.
Sanji Joy my Murana, imagine charge like tracing Jani arrest one or charge so many not Tarlekun.
That if you committed a crime in your country and you run away and stayed abroad for so many years and you return, even if you are to charge, it cannot be for treason.
Mr. Chair, maybe he must have been referring to statute of limitations, but we cannot guess. Proceed.
10.
By the opposition.
Since he was an opposition member,
So what are another withdrawal case?
and so he withdrew from the case.
So another my party.
And then they secured the services of my party.
So very my party.
When they secured the services of my party,
My party not a Kala lawyer.
my party then became his lawyer.
So Wokono.
So within that,
So my evidence against Abulai Sonko.
they did not have evidence against Abulai Sonko.
But mention law as have court no Abulai Sonko dabe farafin attack.
Outside that can prove, or someone from outside who can come and testify that Abulai Sonko was a part of the attackers of Farafenni.
So kono la bere Abulai narantol no makasor.
Then they came after us in prison.
GPP member Ajim, what time wala vejin.
The DPP at the time was Ajim.
So narani Suleiman Sar Taji.
They came and took me and Suleiman Sar.
Samba GPP la officer.
They took us to the DPP's
Only
office.
GPP kalete dango.
They told us that the DPP wants you to answer to
So
him.
sa birin taraji
So when we went there,
GPP ko
the DPP said,
mang any evidence or outside puru kafu ko Abulai Sonko dabe farafin attack.
we don't have any evidence from outside which can say that Abulai Sonko was a part of the attack of Farafenni. But they wanted to use us to implicate Abulai Sonko to be as being part of the attackers. But at that time, when the DPP said that, I said the DPP, and he said yes. I said, I am in prison. And you asked me to come and lock up someone again, because it's all about that. If you want that, you release me to go home, and then you will be calling me to come and testify as a witness. But if you do not release me to go home, and you want me to come and become a witness, that is going to be very difficult.
So Jero
At that point, we told him that we will have discussions with our people. That was on a Friday. When we returned, we had a discussion with our colleagues that we left behind. They said to us, don't accept it. If they don't release you, don't accept it.
So,
they took us back on a Monday because the DPP had said that we should return back on the Monday. When we returned on that Monday, he said that we should go to court. He was in his chamber. He said we go to court. I said to him, we are not going. Because we cannot do it. If you release us and we went home, we could come there. Otherwise, we will not do it. There was a bitter quarrel that day. In that situation, those of you that are in prison, you should have been killed. Those of you who are on life in prison. I said no, I did not accept. I said no. Well, since our court proceedings ended, we are in prison, but there was not talk about life or death sentence. When we were returned back, they called the Jaju. These people are talking about life, then give them the uniforms of the inmates.
So another command in Sambela resource, so you're not in Casola found.
So that was how he called us, took us to the reception. They took away our civilian clothes and gave us the uniforms of the inmates. That was when they told us that you are now spending your entire life here. But that was not said to us. Martin Mendem never said that to us.
But you would admit, Mr. Witness, that you don't have any documents to show this.
Bari sedo ebe son na nyimala ko kaitite bulu ebe mentani la commission la jang ko sabatindi.
No kait tembulon se me irande commission bari kaitol men yan ko aborna biri ni wakeran biri o fengol dun tolanu.
There is no document, but when we were given those uniforms,
so we were
in prison there again. They did not relent. after some time,
ye letter savana kabonam courthouse
they wrote a letter from the courthouse
koni esa balde tandango
and requesting my presence and Esa Balde.
biri o fodron
When they said that,
directly ngalongo abula songo ko kelongola
I knew directly that it was concerning the issue of Abdullah Sonko.
so biri ngumandi la resource on biri murundi konoto
When they called us to the reception and took us back in the cell, we told our people.
So ni esa wesilo kan hani alkalo na e kumandi kare dangura be mem fole ye la moy bal jabiro o bolo to lo ko mote odune da ko
I was with Esa, and on the way going I told him, even Alcalo, when he calls you, you have to go and answer, but whatever response you give to him, that has to be what comes from your own mouth.
so mbeje naran samba court
And so they took us to court.
so bilen samba court pour seda agence Abdoulaye Sonko
They took us there to testify against Abdullah Sonko.
sa yayi tan na albe life la la sa
So that was when it was made clear to us that we are now spending our entire life in prison.
follow balanda pour agence ka seda ak Abdoulaye Sonko
Since we have refused to testify against Abdullah Sonko.
waro le yayi ko nyanga ka life la
That was when they told us that you are now been sentenced to life.
han sa me fo nyina ta use pour kan samba court kara agence Abdoulaye Sonko.
Up till now, they did not relent. They took us to court to testify against Abdullah Sonko.
Did you testify against him?
poite sede aro di la banka ate kamba
de wo sedaro dita abara dita nyamon kana wolto fone
That
Witness are given
testimony was given, but I shall tell you how it went about.
so birin daraji
So when we got there,
so kata ko rin kana kata ko ka ni GPP ni mai fari na problem mo so ida maltem
we were going to court and coming back, and at the time, the DPP and my party had a problem.
so fo la from my arrest la
Until they nearly arrested my party.
ay so jarol sama nanje lundo
One day they brought soldiers there
pour kam my arrest
to arrest my.
lawyer solo fana na reje musolu kewolu je far la tep
Lawyers came there, both male and female. The whole place was full. They all sat down there.
so inara dia mutem
So they spoke to them.
so ba jojo membeje
But the judge that was
jojo
there,
ni kapinta jojo lo fam wala fanga so baba so
that was a carpenter judge. He locked Baba.
What do you mean by carpenter?
jojo ni be ya be kapinta la gambe ya ay ndola ma fam be lo no fam
That judge was a carpenter here in the Gambia. He knows our end, where we come from.
so inara wala ke jojo
He was the one they made a judge.
Justice Paul
Justice Paul.
Justice Paul.
Justice Paul
Justice Paul.
o kapinta la janno because ate fam dala fonye birin dara no kodije
He was a carpenter here. He told me that from his own mouth when we went to court.
dara ko so yender follow bulande box so
I was the first witness on the box,
so kanyininga
and they were questioning me
pro fo abula sonko lon
if I knew Abdullah Sonko.
so ndakarta wikine box so kono abula sonko karta box do
I was in the witness box, and Abdullah Sonko was in the other box.
3 days
3 days,
ni we ñol
where I was with them.
indara kabirin somanda
If I go there in the morning,
kallo box so kono
and I stand in the box
almost 1 o'clock
until almost 1 o'clock.
so ikatra nyininga la question la
So they kept asking me questions.
imam fen so no mbulu
They could not get anything from me,
because kanyininga question do la
because there were some questions that they asked me.
statement o kono
Some of them were in my
yende
statement.
so already kanyininga wala ni nyinga ko inta jabila
They have
so man
already
na court la jam
They have already sentenced me. So when they asked me, I'll tell them that I will not answer because I am not here for any
so
court case.
ko nyefo en kenno wala ko malo nan maje
They asked me, do you know this man? I told them, I don't know him. I have
ko
never
bari na
seen
ko
him.
mal to ko mal to wartale
They said to me, but you are with him in mile 2. I told them mile 2 is wide,
dana man dara lakin
and he is not in the same place with me.
ko nyena kana moto kilen ko ende buka jeje
They told me, but you come together with him in the same vehicle. I told them I never saw him there.
so GPP
So the DPP,
so ba waro journalist ol kanaje
but at that time, journalists were allowed in.
ba waro bana ninjira box so kon
Sometimes when I come out of the
so ka
witness box,
journalist ol ani family members ol ani gambe dingul
the journalists, family members, and ordinary Gambians will come under dash of some money.
Let me ask you this question. During your own trial, the times you were going to court, were you at any time tortured by prison officers?
That usually happened. When we are going to court, some prison officers and some soldiers were there.
So we
used to lie on our bellies on the truck, and our hands were cuffed behind us, and we lied on our bellies, and that was how we lay down. Before we will get to the court and alive. My friend, that was usually a problem.
So
and when we disembark,
so you
will hear the chains, clinging all the way.
So
and we are always in those chains in the box. And when we are coming to, so the vehicles were always parked under the sun. So if you climb that truck and you are made to lie on your belly on that truck, if your heart is always about to break, because of the heat from the iron. That was the manner in which they brought us out.
How about any beatings by prison officers?
There was one man they call Manga. His hand is having a problem. There was another one called Manga. He's a fat guy.
So
they kept beating us up. Just as Sefla and his people. And Jai himself and his crew.
So
they kept beating us.
Men like Buba Mendi.
They were other soldiers like Buba Mendi. There was one other called Pamudu Khan. He was also there.
Soldiers on the duty at the time.
The soldiers that were on duty at the time. And you get to know them, know the soldiers who usually escort you.
Do you know a person called Jagide?
Yes, I know Jagide.
What can you tell us about him?
Jakai abejel da bulo ma mol mare ba burun atafana ni ibe mol lepala ukafo alkani made.
He was there, even though he did not torture anyone, but when they are beating people, he never asked them to stop.
Those who are beating, would they be under Jagaide's authority?
Yes,
he katara la kamola koro because lastly Bubamene enaro arrestle ya samana mai to be basambala no lumana alalum kiti telat.
Yes, they were under his authority. In fact, lastly, Bubamen was arrested, and the day that he was brought to the prison. God is great. The day that they were bringing him in, and they were putting handcuffs in his hands, I was standing there. I thanked the Almighty. I said to him, even if this one should spend just one day here in prison, and he's released,
Alhamdulillah.
Praise be to God.
You are telling us when Jobate came to prison, and they came to talk to you. What happened?
Iko yebe mfoka nye kukabirin Jobate muraya na di kasoro. Itaraka diamuye. Muna keta.
Jobate bire asamana ndebe selo mendo.
When they brought Jobate to the cell where I was,
number 4 say you are number 1 yes number 4.
At the time I was taken from number 1 to number 4. I cleaned his cell.
I welcomed
him and I cleaned his cell for him. I I told him what has happened has happened.
But
We can forgive, but as for forgiving, as for remembering, forgetting, we will not forget. And wherever in the world that I am asked about this, I can say it. Not Jobate alone. Fodebare was brought there twice. In fact, for him, in the end, he was not always comfortable meeting with me. And I sent one of them with whom he was in the same cell, and I told him to ask him to come. And when he came, I told him I have forgiven, but I will not forget. And wherever I am asked, I will narrate it. When you were doing it to me, you did not believe that you will end up here. You thought I was an enemy of the state.
So
this was what happened between me and him.
If all those people you mentioned, Baba Dinding Jobate, Hari Sambu, Odebari, Salmina Drame, Joe Mendi, those are the ones I can remember off the top of my head. Samsar. If all those people were to come here and accept that they have tortured you, would you be willing to forgive them and to reconcile with them?
I swore to God that if they come here and accepted, I forgive them.
Because
God has passed judgment between me and them. Even Salmina himself was brought to the jail. That alone is enough.
Alhamdulillah.
Praise be to God. Since you said I was an enemy of the state, you have not taken me to the cell for any other thing until except for a coup d'etat. But they took me to this jail for something which is not the same with mine.
Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alamin.
Praise to God. When you were doing it, you did not believe, and God passed judgment, and that they are now here with me. To God, I will forgive. But wherever they ask me about this, until the day that I die, I will always narrate it.
You told us about your father having been brought to the NIA. You are on the oath. Was he tortured?
Well, as for my father, all I can say is that he was told very harsh words. In my presence, while I was being tortured, they told him so many horrible things. After that, they took me away, and he spent a couple of days there. So within that, he was touched. He did not tell me, but he said he used to have pain behind his back, the back of his head.
So your belief is that he was tortured?
I believe that he was tortured because my father wasn't like that before. At this point in time, my father cannot explain anything to anyone. He cannot tell anybody anything. Cannot tell anybody anything as to what happened to him. I am the only one who can explain what happened, or those who witnessed back home when he was arrested and they were not that young. They may be the only people who can talk about what happened to him.
You were subsequently released. Why?
I mean from prison.
Yes.
I not nambula kaso kono birindunda ye because meta kaso kono no.
Yes, they eventually released me, but I had spent a long time in prison.
Dolbe kaso kono ya jame si mol men arrest men si men so stay long kaso kono men sin tolisi. Mamro obeye.
I don't think that there has been any set of prisoners during Yajame's time who have spent a longer time in jail than us.
Mojama letra kaso ndu mojama ba lentraje yorine ala time all. So animal many are going to samana dolbe near samana bite sambala karefa like Ganyiba Kany. Ganyiba Kany.
Yaje mile to prison.
Nyaje mile to free life and
direct.
Nyake solo takang.
Nyake solo lodakan da mankanye kokori.
How do you know that that was Kanyiba Kany?
Yalo nyadi le wala Kanyiba Kany.
Na nyinin kale itelam tumara kon Kanyiba Kany bodomendo Jara Jason.
I asked him, who are you? And he said, I am Kanyiba Kany. Where are you from? And he said, I am from Jara Jason.
So I don't tell me board because I don't got domorol supply le. Kujamal bejenga long prison. Tambira siakun.
At that time, I was a mess boy. I was the one supplying food.
Sanji tanning kono do kardanda.
I was the one supplying.
Sanji tanning kono do karworula maybe.
I was supplying food. So I.
In 1964, 2014.
I knew many things about the prison. I was there for 19 years.
Yes, few months.
Yo, so we were told that the prisoners were fed with a carrion, that is rotten meat of a dead cow that was brought to the prison. Is that true?
Kasolankol membe kasoto ike balondi ni domorola me surtout subo ni so me alanko ni siji fari ngala
ndefon le sede amanganya mola fonye ndefon la sede.
I witnessed that. It's not that someone told me about it.
Okay, who is responsible for bringing that carrion, that dead cow, rotten cow to the prison?
Jamal be marli wala kaw ni siji fari ngonati kasoto je
David Colley.
We received information that after that food was served, several people died in the prison after consuming it.
Na kibaro sotoko bire ye onizi jifari ngonati kaso bungoto je ya kanta ya busuje ya di kaso lankola mo jamal soro ndaje men ya lonko ifata je andum ya man sababu fenda na manke subu ton lingote
mo soro taje men fare bi jama be je nyinate tola ba do be je me an ko ka fa 6 million.
Yes, many people died there, but I cannot remember their names. But there was one person called 6 million.
6 million yalo dolbe brio nisi furawnyi samananje.
When they brought that dead cow there.
Sa kende mama be tolio sambela suor.
So the good part of it, they took it to
their homes.
Nimme ya domono wala nimme ma domono ya ba artante be mes bo yalo no because artan firira no.
At that time,
wandi latanna inarambula kaso kono so sai kaje nkadun la jama do wala na mo jama be men yalon ko ye samananje ya jama time mo jama lon.
I was a mess boy and I was a little bit freer. And so David Colley said to me, well, there is the remaining part of the meat. Whosoever can eat it, let them eat it, otherwise let it be. So because of being that mess boy, I was able to know many people there. Those that came to prison at the time, I got to know a lot of them.
So 6 million,
that 6 million was a madman.
So
people did not eat lunch, they did not eat dinner because that meat was served for both lunch and dinner. Some people were there, they were mad, and you could not refuse or deny them to eat. But people like us, apart from the breakfast, we did not have lunch. And many other people of that kind were there.
Because in fact,
the reason why that incident became so well known was as a result of Musa Suso's problem. He had a problem with David.
Because
they came inside the prisons to conduct a search. They said that they found a SIM card.
Drugs Baro wala be bro. Yeah. Baro jame kundan ko be wara bandala sande na be no Senegal exile la musa.
At that time,
Benedict.
They took him to the drug squad. At the time, Benedict Jammeh was the one there.
So,
and we were in Senegal with him in exile.
Bria Musa so samba yo time Musa na ranying secret role be ta kol menga za bukol fon safala buko fulasa kol menga ki kaso kono evra be sa bukola so waro la na ranying ni sifure ko je.
So it was Musa Suso who wrote everything about what is happening in the prison, including this dead cow and
bari o time on dolta bondino bari ka funyo ni sa challa jang na falu ma jang ata findla bunda bal lafta men namba wala kala.
Because that time we couldn't get that information out because they usually told us that we can do anything to you here and you will not be able to take it out of this place.
So you were released after 19 years and some months on the basis of a presidential pardon.
Yebula sanji tumala men na ye sanji tang anin kononto kari woro ya la inarne bula mun kankang wala mu president wa kango mendi pour ka yamfa moli ibula taw molle kono yamfa moli ni
mula taw yamfa molle kono.
Yes, we were part of the pardon.
Was it 2014 or 2015?
2014 number of 2015.
Amra 2014 nanda no manyana.
I think it was 2014 if I have not forgotten.
What did you do after you were released?
Yemune ke bri ibula rinkola.
Bri embula nkoto manara no manu.
When I was released, my older brother came to collect me.
Ay sambara suwa kono.
He took me to his house.
Kafa Modou Diagne.
It's called Modou Diagne.
Anin doma Alaji.
And my younger brother Alaji.
Anin na doma koton Seni.
And one other younger brother of mine called
Seni Kante.
Seni Kante.
Anin doje kafa Balandi.
There's one also called Balanding.
These
were the people who came to collect me and took me home.
So did you remain in Gambia or did you go somewhere else?
Gambia jane bam fo ita blaso dal ba itara damendo ba.
Nonde man me baka jambere yambula ndar exile.
I did not stay here long. After I was released, I went into exile. Because at that time, if I spend the day in one place,
so samo
the next day, my family will take me to another place to spend the night there. And this is how I was alternating the places that I stayed in. I did not initially want to leave the country, but my father said to me, if you stay here, I will not forgive you. And if you went away, wherever you may be in this world, you have my blessings.
The NIA told you during your torture sessions that you would not function again as a man.
NIA yenyi mfoye ko watu mena be bute gamba de be tajire ya kanko ibe kala moldi me ya lonko ite tamala kotenke ilake ya.
Yes.
So what happened in there?
Muna keta ko nyinya la bangonyi.
After that, when I went to Senegal,
so mfama nara muso do nyini.
My father got a wife for me.
So ya samana nyina Senegal.
And they brought her to me in Senegal.
Her
name is Mariama Kuyate.
So
she was young.
So
and when they brought her,
so and
gave her to me,
so
I could not perform.
So
despite how hard I tried, I tried all means, going to Marabou's, taking tablets, nothing worked. I could not function at the time. And she is my relative. Because she is related to me from my uncle's side and also on the grandparents' side.
So,
and for that reason, we were in that situation until there was a new government in place. When this new government took over, when I returned,
so family because
of the family did not want a divorce,
so another family commandi.
I then called the family,
a farmer,
her father,
Umar Kuyate,
old Umar Kuyate, I said to him,
Ali yam fanye.
please forgive me.
Nga yam fanyoe.
Let us forgive one another.
Nyamu denwele.
She's young.
Mam fankenna.
She has done nothing wrong to me.
Ndela mankuno mama.
I am the old one who is unable to do something for her.
Janna la time o bewesla.
So before I will waste our time,
Asike je men sa furu.
let her look for a man who will marry her.
So isaje wokono.
You'll see that within that,
Defanansi borol try wokono taring.
I will continue trying to take medication. If God gives me good health anytime, I can then look for a wife. So I was in that situation, staying in with one of my friends in Brikama, called Sanadahaba.
Disaster management.
He's the director at disaster management.
So
He asked me to stay in his house because he liked me.
So but after Okola,
But after that,
Babylon.
I said to him, well, now I want to transfer to Babylon. If I have a place where to stay, I will go to Babylon.
So nada inform ko sabadula bejan.
Then they informed me that there was a place where I could live in.
Na kafuno Mustafa Jadama wala besirinde.
My friend Mustafa Jadama, he is here seated.
So onaram kumandi.
He called me
Anara fonyoko.
and then said to me
Bundola bejande.
that there is a house here.
Ni laftal.
If you liked it,
Si sama isnaji.
you can come and stay there.
Nara fusana yam fanyanga stay.
Then I said to Sana, please allow me, let me go and stay there.
So mbe wala kono.
So I was in that situation.
So nara yam fa Mariamai.
Then I allowed Mariama to free her. But before I allowed her to go,
Nga for Mustafa.
I told Mustafa
Nala muso
and his wife,
Bintu. Sister nyemena ha.
the sister that I came along with,
So nara fa womuna sister altefonga.
that's my sister.
Nara fa.
I told her,
Na condition explain.
I explained my condition to them.
Manu kumade.
I did not hide anything from them. I told them everything.
Nara fa nyoko amuso bejanne.
They told me, well, there is a woman here,
Baru surualam.
but she's well off.
Bania relafta.
But if you want her,
Baru wofana na futura le.
but she was once married,
Wofana na futu alana alanyina ala futu bangal.
but she is divorced.
So bania relafta la.
But if you liked her,
Abejan na sinyo kendal.
she's here, she's a good neighbor.
Nyare lafta wala sudu wala kuwa.
If you like, we can go into those, make the arrangements.
Ya fonya daman no.
Where they told me that,
Directly in sondale.
directly I accepted.
Go lafta la.
I said I liked her.
It will fall ko nyema moment je lafta wala.
They told me, someone that you have not seen and already you like her.
Nko ko altandun dula dula daman de alongo.
I told them that you will not put me in a place where,
Me alongo jema mbere.
which is not good.
Ate Mustafa Jadama.
That Mustafa Jadama
Ani bintu kujabi.
and Bintu Kujabi,
So itolle mun jari ri Babylon mo na mo kende balam.
they are my host in Babylon. Very good people of mine.
You continue to take treatment, right?
Itententa ka jara lota ko.
Antata jaralo ta ko time.
Yes, I was taking treatment at the
So
time.
wokono
So within that,
na ray muso futu.
I married this woman.
So ba birimba furura.
But when I was marrying her,
Family will found jama be dewring.
many members of my family were worried. They were worried.
Bari comme ça kaso kono.
Because in prison,
Na lo mol siara.
many people,
Me alon ko e samana kaso kono ke ma ko ino.
people that they brought to the jail that I was assisting,
Moman do akal morta kaso kono.
because no one prays to find anyone in prison. But within those people,
Birim findita.
when I was released,
So na lo mol na da fanya ko muso jibe.
those people that I
Ni ndola furu wata.
acquainted with, they told me, look for a wife.
Niaje.
When you find one,
Ya fondole mbe ma ko ila.
tell us and we will assist you.
Go bismillah.
I said, fine.
Men kera comme ça OJ Jallo.
People like O.J. Jallo,
Kara Khalifa Salla.
people like Khalifa Sallah,
Amadou Bagnol.
people like Amadou Ba,
Hermendi.
Hermendi,
Masa Kamara.
Masa Kamara,
Umar Fall.
Umar Fall,
Which Omar Fall?
Umar Fall.
Faljima.
Kafana Umar Fall.
Mbake.
Ha.
they call him Umar Fall, Mbake, yes.
So ulbe ni ulbe nyolon kaso kono.
I acquainted myself with all of them in prison.
So ane dobe na kesu no dobe landing sana.
And there's one short man my friend Landon Sane.
So all be kira moto menu lora nyakola.
They stood and on that issue for me.
So beri nara muso nyinje.
So when I found this woman,
so Mustafa nara kuotama.
Mustafa did the facilitation.
So nara sila nyaron ko wulindi.
And then they chose a head of delegation.
So purkara ular.
To go to the place.
Fakeba Kamara.
Fakeba Sise.
So wala ko betaman.
And he facilitated the whole process.
Nani member na nana rasidande Mustafa. Anim bintu kujab.
So what with nani munada?
Any information.
Nani kumaka member nanje.
Whatever information he brings from that place.
Saho Mustafa ay anim bintu.
He will tell Mustafa and Bintu.
In the end, you got married.
Nara Ibria Kamodi Naro, Nara from Kafunole, so Nime, so Rasim Kumandi, Narawata, so for Nara Musonium Furu.
Yes, when they gave me the approval, I told my colleagues that whatever anyone has, let them bring it together, and eventually I married her.
And with the help of God, you are now able to get a child.
Sayang Allah de maro kang harjeta de dingwa.
Ha, amusoni mfango bejane kafa Ramucham.
Yes, the woman, the wife is here called Ramucham with the child.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. I have no further questions.
Marabaka sedo kiaman
just to remind, I have some exhibits to put in.
Actually, I wanted the child to say hello to the commission. At some point, we will get to that. But go ahead, the council. Thank you.
The photograph, side view photograph of the witness showing injury scars on his arms should be exhibit 178, and the photograph showing bones below his belly button and on his stomach, that should be 178A. And the photograph showing injuries to or scars to the left nipple should be 178B. And the photograph showing the chest of the witness with one nipple missing and one nipple present should be 178C. There is also a more detailed photograph of the right arm of the witness, also showing scars. That should be exhibit 178D. With your permission, Mr. Chair.
Request granted, Council. Thank you very much, Council, and thank you, Mr. Balo Kante.
Kiaman go inumarabake Council, inumarabake Mr. Balo Kante ila sede andiroto.
We are again truly sorry that you had to endure such horrific torture in the hands of NIA agents.
Waninga bimba fale masa kuol lamella te kang andui masoto mobulu fo yasoto menubulu wala munna banko tanko bunda molti.
I have just 2 points to raise with you, if you don't mind.
Ni ku fanna saba wala fula be mbulu jang dal flan ni mentala ni ngadra abisoto no le mbasoto no le to.
When your nipple was cut and you were bleeding, was there anybody around to give you first aid, stop the bleeding and some treatment?
Birin yere mara sunjo nyun kundu fo wato men na yelo be findi kan fo motarta e barabaro la jela bang ketare de ma kan de maro la memu jaralo la fondo fanna folo nyinti bang
Akundrun kola bang fo.
Was it after it was cut or?
Yes.
Ika doctor ul sama nanjelo time puruka ma ko time keso man singoro fa yo jara ko keso mam bonde fo 2014 keso ni ngafinde ndi singoro.
Yes, they usually brought their doctors to assist me because at the time too I had the injury from the gunshot and that bullet remained in my thigh until 2014 before I was able to remove it.
I'm referring to the cutting of the nipple and the bleeding coming from that at that moment.
I did not have, I had no assistance at that time. There was no help at all.
How long did the bleeding go?
Yellow in the bonia, what did you let a yellow be finted on?
No time out at level Safo, what are level Galao Nyama, Fanoka Nyama.
I let
Wait
that.
London Seal from Sa Janielo stop, but I comes a yellow stop by Buru.
Took a few days.
It
It took a few days before the bleeding stopped through the help of God. It's not that I got any medical assistance which stopped the bleeding.
Fine. This one is a general question, and I'm not asking you or giving you a high school or university question of compare and contrast a particular point.
Nini kardom nini karame ka fanura ba kele mbuka nini kala nyala kavoko fo etwa bu karong idara of high school or university londi karong kele.
Your experience in Liberia and in the Gambia,
Ila londo to yemen so Liberia and in Gambia,
you were involved in same purpose, but different consequences arose.
bari ida be tarli ida yeda bula ku kilingol do mialon ko hamen ku kilingol bari ko nyin ko men beje ifarata le.
You were in Liberia with Charles Taylor, attempting to change the government there.
Be mun Liberia in Charles Taylor alba kata kanno pour ka man sakunda faling.
You said you had what amounted to almost a royal treatment.
Ko ye maraje ko nyala me alon ko kam da mansa.
You had 18 female bodyguards around you.
Ko musutang aning sey wala so me alon ko wala ke kanta.
You felt comfortable there very much.
And ni wol be barabaro lay katara ifansori ke fansoro bakele.
And you came to the Gambia.
Ina da Gambia bango kam.
Same purpose.
O hamen ku kilimo
Involved with some people to change the government.
indin do kota ngol ya wulita pour ka masa faling masa kunda faling.
Yeah, you endured horrific torture, as I mentioned earlier.
Ndum ina na tajire ya dimindingol soro ko men ngafo nyamen dum komando.
As a young African and a Gambian,
Ndum imu dindingol de alon ko bota Africa la ndum Gambia dingol fana muiti.
was it worth it
Wa jareta la bang.
if you compare the two?
Yenyi fulol tak mo taki.
Go Adamadi moment madron.
I said no human being is perfect.
Me ndetara hoslo lanu.
I went to hustle.
So nara bula en kolo kon mandram fambulu kom sa hisitram fambulu isi fambon no je nyam.
Then I found myself in this situation, and I was not in control of the situation, because if you are in control of the situation, you can get yourself out of it.
Nisim fambon no je kabri Libya.
If I could have got out of this situation since in Libya, then I wouldn't have gotten to Liberia in the first place. Yes.
Thank you, Commissioners. If you have any
Inumbara
questions.
silang komisional ninga tra momo yenyi ngaro soro ya itandi.
Mamsi.
Komisional imam sile bine yenyi ngala sedo.
Kotombalo jërëjëf.
Thank you, Kotombalo.
Ñu nuyu dala gërëm ci coono bi.
We greet you and also thank you for the hardships.
Man ñaari laaj la bëgg a laaj.
I have two questions to ask you.
Junne nit ak juróomi téeméer yi nga jiitewoon foofu.
The junne nit ak nata?
Ak juróomi téeméer.
The 1,500 individuals that you are leading.
Kan moo leen doon fay ak kan moo leen dundaloon.
Who was paying them and who was also feeding them?
Ak magama bi nga fa amoon ni nga nekkoon foofu ay kilifa.
And the experience and the position that you had there when you were a leader.
Ci ko lan moo taxoon nga nangu ko dañ la doon fay wala da nga toppoon sa bànneex.
In what condition did you accept that being there? Were they paying you, or were you there just because of your wish?
ñaareelu laajte bi ku koy Samba Sagnang.
Second question, Kukoy Samba Sagnang.
ebal bi mu leen ebaloon fii da ngeen waxtaanoon ak moom pay wala moom def leen yéen a toppoon seen bugg-bugg rek.
The assignment is sent you here for. Was he paying you, or were you just doing that out of your own pleasure?
ba mu dugaleen ci jafe-jafe yi.
When he got you into this difficulty?
ak lan nga planoon sa bopp bi nga nekkee foofu noonu yow itam li nga war a indi ci Gambia.
And what did you plan for yourself while you were there that you will bring back to the Gambia?
lii daal la doon laaj.
These are the questions.
yara ñini karo moyle
mala gin kar folo fonya ba
laajte bu njëkk bi mooy ñi nga jiite woon foofu.
sorry awada baba awada sese za kurum yengo adumatini
fo sura kan wala do sa
nde sabo man nenga
fo yake kilin sa ja
qualify
ñi nga jiite woon foofu.
akoy mi itambira minu ñaato nu nje
1500 nit ñi nga xamante ne yaa leen téléphone.
o mo wili kilim mo kemelu lo ñi yalan koy tele be ñaato nu
1,500 individuals that you led.
kan moo leen doon dundal ak kan moo leen doon fay.
jumala ke balundi andu jumala fanan ke jo
elo ko yosono bedara ba
Who was feeding them and who was also paying them.
elo ñinen karo bedara ba ke imam barka
You have asked a very important question. Thank you, Imam.
de wato mbelabria wato men
At the time that I was in Liberia,
mumum bebe janinde kamen lidi o wala do kamen lidi joman tragede o time
the people that I led or the people that other people led, all of them, there was no payment for any one of them.
manke ko kabo karo kari jolo be lor moyeje hani
It was not like there was payment for anyone at the end of each month.
but waden wade
But from time to time,
e kaaje ko biko wato ko men sit no mantra kerinji
because there was no permanent government in place,
so bara keda nyama
but however it was,
is comme ça ala ne matema
since they are blessed,
so la jama be je wol bendo la control area
many areas were under our control.
ato jonyu facility lu
And these facilities,
mol bukan etaje
nobody came to take them away,
namanke outside country mol comme ça ani businessman odol
except businessmen from other countries.
yo bro baton ka sabato bayre labira bangu bare labira port lu lebe
Liberia is a blessed country. They have 5 ports.
so e kaaje o kono fengul men kana
So the things that come in,
e fengul anya ol comme ça ka kodo soto la nyama so waden wari kaaje charge terusi kurupol kumanda ay kodo di mola comme ça yalla kristano la siaraje
some things like iron ore, and therefore once in a while, Charles Taylor will call a group and give them money.
karo men ba kono ni o sirana
Since they are mostly Christians, for instance, the feast that is about to come in this month,
abuka ajibe fo kristana fo musulmana so aka fembondi kadi kurupol la tare
he will not discriminate to say whether this one is Christian or Muslim. He will just disburse monies to everyone.
adunin dol je van banna salo sira comme ça sungar salol tem
And when the Tawaski or Korite comes around,
so ndol men fana mbora kambe asi fembonda adinna
those of us who are from the Gambia, he will also remove a token and give it to us,
so alongo musulmon le mun
because he knew that we were Muslims.
so o dronam
So that was the only thing. There was no permanent pay.
kon won landa gol ma di mongol kadi
ha
ñaari laajte bi mooy ku koy Samba Sagnang da ngeen waxtaanoon ak moom fay wala moom def leen puusoon rek ngeen ñëw dugg ci jafe-jafe.
ko ñinin kar flan jaw men de wala ñindi ko ku koy Samba Sagnang fo al nakata jol la ban fo ayal tal dong al ñori jandrong pour aller na jangale na boy kaonki
na man kacha jola na man kacha comme ça c'est bon babul dron o time oro
The second question is, did you...
forse o me bonna
inso ñinso ay jin kanna sor
the second question is, did you arrange any payment plan with Kukoy Samba Sagnang, or did he just push you to come here and get involved in this activity of yours?
jorukun tennate ma ka fo aben jola la hani wotaje
There
for
was no payment arrangement between him and us that he will pay us. It was just through force.
Thank you, Commissioner Kinte. You have the floor.
misona kindela fana bine ñinin kala sedo
Assalamu alaikum balo.
wa alaikum salam
Ngeen ni ku yaay tandi e batal ni jarabol menke.
I express my sadness for the hardships that you have encountered. Our very own people who were expected to treat you based on the law and the rules and regulations failed to do so. I am touched by one of the things you said in your testimony. That is, they are bringing of Kanyiba Kanyi into mile 2. I will want to ask a few questions on that issue, and I really want you to assist me. I want you to tell me, if I told you know the day that he was brought in there, what day is it and what time is it? I'd like you to tell me. Thank you, Commissioner. That question is pleasing to me. Because mile 2 is a place whereby if someone is brought there and then taken out to be killed, there are many people that I know. Many. Kanyiba Kanyi, when he was brought in,
number 5.
they took him to number 5.
So number 0,
there,
the mess boy.
I was a mess boy.
So Daraje,
I went there.
When I
went there, I supplied him food personally. It was not like somebody to be food from me. I gave it to him personally. And I said to him, relative, where are you from? He told me I'm from Jara Jasong. He told me where he stayed, but I forgot.
So
I told him, really? And he said, yes. I told him, well, I am also a Jaranka. It's only now that I have forgotten the name of the wife, but he had told me his wife's name. I told him, to see, the fact that we are here, we also make these inquiries. If you are living with a dictator, we are always interested in making inquiries to know whosoever is brought here as a detainee, so that we know where you are from, the time that you were brought here, and the time that you are taken out, because there is no specific time which they may take you away. Because they can bring you just immediately, and in a few minutes' time you'll be weeks away. So and they'll make you disappear just like that. So but the day that he came there, truly we used to have use other means and write it in small letters on the walls. But at that time, if you were caught with a pen or if they saw any writings or a paper, if they beat you, you will not narrate that to anyone. So if I told it was then, I could say, but for now, I have forgotten the day. But the day that he was taken away, I have not forgotten that. 2006 election day, I may remember, forget the day, but in 2006, the very day that the elections were taking place, the time that people were voting, the time when the voting was taking place, you know, at that time people were concentrated on that. That was when they took him away. So they put a plastic bag over his head and they took him. That was the last time we saw him, and we had the belief that that was the very day that they killed him.
Okay.
And other people. How many days did he spend there with them before they took him away to kill him?
Gonka nyubala naje askino ay follow lador mam men kala muda bayri tumando bado dol beje be arrest le samana lador ba naje kaman tambe na tilisa bo fongosi.
It could be he was arrested and detained in some other place, because sometimes they did that before they brought him to Mile 2. But it cannot be more than 3 days.
Tumado bato many ya samananka register J. Askeno itawol lonna bao kake bundale.
Maybe those who brought him in to have him registered, you may not be in a position to know them, since the registration is usually done at the gate.
But dole beje tol fona katenten na nyola le fo security wing ya hand over prison warden.
But there were some officers who usually will come with him until at the security wing, where they will then hand him over to the prison officers.
Ni wo imo ke fana ni hand over ma reception to wo prison warden le na kana selo yele ka dundi.
If that is not also the case, and even if they had handed him over at the reception, those prison officers at the reception would normally be the ones to bring him all the way to his cell.
Malong fo ila fahamuro futatale prison warden jumale asamananka dayele kadundi selo kon.
I don't know whether you are in a position to know which particular prison warden brought him from the reception to open the cell and put him inside there.
Butong nyinata wala was kanyo falen dolbeje ka juri ke somanda oleji 4 o'clock dole sel 4 o'clock oleji 10 o'clock numembe sel 10 o'clock wol kartaje fo fanoyke.
I have forgotten that, because they used to change shifts. Some will close work at 4, and others will mount and close at 10 o'clock. Those who mount at 10 o'clock will only close the following morning.
So msafon ganyuma puru kata kafin ninde hani biri ade samanandro biri adunije pur kafin ninde kasam barulado wo kraw lunkel biri afinde bodas de biri tarato abanda.
I can say that since he was I can say that he was not brought out because the only time that I can say with certainty that he was brought out was the very day of the elections when they took him away. But it could be that they used to bring him out and when they were bringing him back inside, I would normally not be there.
Ime yitende wala mu indite men kala muta doron sinya kilini ya samanang do man tambi tilifula sabala ya bondi abenda carte fay lumole fe wolum fana ya fa atol lam jerodo wala la miro.
What you believe is that sorry, can you repeat the question again?
Nkam men fo wala mu nyinte ko atol sinya kilindor na liaje ya samana.
What I'm saying is, as far as you were concerned, it was only one time you saw him being brought in.
And you come amira itili saba sije woto mosafo ko tilifula ni itili saba temalemu ay wodoron nekeje. And
you said that you don't think that he stayed there for long. It's between 2 and 3 days.
Yes.
And you ko karte fay lumolemu ya mute na rambuso bula kungola ka samba.
And you said it was the day of the election. You said it was the day of the election. You said it was the day of the elections that they put a plastic bag over his head and took him out and killed him. Was it early morning, just as the sun was rising in the afternoon or in the night? And the witness said it's night time. If Abulai Songo were here, if he were here, but he's late. He could be succumbed to the torture and all these hardships after we released died. But if he were here, you would have corroborated my statement. Those who put this plastic bag over his head and took him away.
Killing. Kongno jele nga sutela bulata mol konole bring menu be bandala mile 2 waram prison police ol menu be je warani wonde prison police jumale dayele ka kanyi ba dila pour mbuso bula kumol.
I don't know if you study your mind and reflect back on the incident. You can remember anybody who was in that material moment when this plastic bag was put over his head, or which prison warden was the one that opened the cell door for him to get in.
Yalo ikanamul kamaje waro man.
You know, the time that they used to come to pick people up, that time used to find us inside.
So
So if it finds me inside,
sa atul membe nyobala je wala tumando baro selo isa dola selo palande roka dola selo bunda yele nebe abondila.
those of you who are together, or sometimes your cells are close to the other cell door.
So wokono.
So in that situation,
so ni tolumina waro nyongola so ni mina.
when these junglers are coming,
so he came mask so puri alongo exactly karlem.
They used to wear masks, so to know exactly which individual.
Because
except you were among them. And that time we were virtually strangers. We did not know much about the Gambia.
Exactly, exactly.
And since we were inside, we could not know exactly which officer was there who actually opened the cell door.
The night
of the elections,
exactly inata daele mulmang mau soto no sign but wato simako enol wati jumale exactly inata ka bondi ka sam.
You may not be able to say exactly what time it was.
So carte konto be kering kabo round 10 kara 11 o ma famara
the
carte konto be kering
the elections were already done and
wado me carte konto be kering so time lay nara kaman
it was
kata talantan nin kile
ma ho nara kam ba mol be listing kan
on the 11
wala ton dira
when the votes
result kana wado man
we have been counted
no wado result because o time monro tambulde
and the results were being announced
monro tambul ba ni o rewul ena ni e furando rebe kala furawul.
At the time, I did not have a watch, because if they caught you with a watch and took you to NIA, you would become a corpse.
So,
which is why I am telling you to estimate the time. From 10 to 12. Up to 1.
So, alhamdulillah, barakabad.
Thank you.
Commissioner Samba, followed by Commissioner Carr.
Commissioner Samba, wala fananka ni nyininka.
Balo inimbara.
Thank you, Balo.
Barka.
Nafte nyininka la nyininka dantanela.
I want to ask you a few questions.
Nyininka follow wala mnyenti kon nafte nyininka ko kari woro.
First question is, you said 6 months.
Alimekum.
You did not take bath.
Fo kari woro kono.
Within that 6 months, did they ever allow you to observe your prayer times?
Yeah.
Someone, they found me reciting the Holy Quran. I was reading the Quran. Someone borrowed the book to me called Lance Koblan Bojam. He is from Brikama.
So he
borrowed me the Al-Quran and I was reciting it. In the morning, they came. When they came, they opened the door. They slapped me. They told me, you that is supposed to be killed, and here you are reading the Quran. So for us to pray, your hands were cuffed and your feet were shackled, so you just put your hands on the ground, and so in whatever manner you pray, God will accept it. And when they were taking that Al-Quran from me, Sefla was the one who led a team to come to me.
So
when he came, he it caused a very serious insult. Since we are Mandinkas, he said you Mandinkas, and he caused my mother that you are the ones who want to overthrow our government. So they are going to kill you people. So that was how they took the Al-Quran away from me. And so I stood at the door, at the cell door. I told them, this Al-Quran that you are taking away, on the day of judgment, what's that? Before we cross Sarat, the Al-Quran will pass judgment between us. So they told me that is what you are saying, and I told them yes. They came back and opened the door. So at Sefla, the other manka who had a faulty hand called the manga plugger, and the other fat manka, they came inside and they beat me up. I told them, well, if it is on the because of the Quran that you are beating me up, that I am going to repeat that, saying that until the day of judgment, that the Quran will be a witness between me and you people. Much more prayers. Because even late Aliuba, even late Aliuba was beaten until he lost consciousness. Secondly, I think if I heard well,
20 liters bidon
you said they will cut the 20-liter gallon in the middle. And that was where you eased yourselves. Yes. Yes.
So
there was no cover, nothing on it. No cover, nothing. It was just there beside us in the cell. The third one, you said while you were in Libya, you had a wife there. No,
Liberia.
Yes, I had a wife in Liberia. Did you have a child with her? Yes, we had a child. Is that child here with you or there? That child is in Liberia because when I was leaving Liberia, she was just trying to work. Her name is Senabu Kante.
The chamber parts in the Robben Island had covers.
Commissioner Kala.
Thank you, Chairman. Sorry, Mr. Kante, for what you went through. My first question is, you told this commission that your father was brought in and you were tortured in his presence. I want to know if your other family members were victimized.
Lafta kamenyi ninga wala mnyindiko ya fo ila sadaro kono ko ye fama fana itata no kana ya nati andung ya lipa anyala lafta kamel no wala mnyindiko fo da pote fama la family la karola ila dimba la karola fo mo ko rendo so ndala bang ibulo la men kamba yemen nati bang
na sister nyomo jame yo fana sambana o fo mera je baka mere bulu baka.
Yes, my sister Nyomo Jame was there and she spent a long time there with them.
Thank you. The second is, what do you do for a living now?
Saying is inumbara ila saying thing ila balure muna mula balure ka mudoku muna la ka balu menna
de jama mantra do hula de
mostly I'm not working.
Be nga afro la
I do selling.
I try
get animals like sheep.
So when I
get sheep, I fatten them and I resell them.
But during coronavirus,
But since the advent of the coronavirus,
so balu ko na rakole ande famulani dimbal be jaral.
Sustenance became difficult for me and the family, since my family is in Jara.
So another difficult mbulu, so manna continue no ala da.
It became difficult for me and I couldn't continue.
So sankara na kafunyo malele atari.
So now I go to my friends, those that I knew while in prison, people like O.J. Jallo, people like Sanat Dahaba and others, and other individuals like Wasa and Permendi. So I used to go to them, and at the end of each month, whatever anyone lays his hands on, they dash me.
But right now,
I have nothing that I'm engaged in.
Thank you. My third question is, as Council has mentioned before this commission, some people may have died in the Farafenya attacks.
Council ya la ina tema ko model sorontal no menu fata Farafenya boy
Would you want to apologize to their families?
Bela fla pour ka bolo seyo ke wala ila family la ba ila dimba la ba.
Ayalo adama de momentum.
No human being is perfect. The reason why I said no human being is perfect, because we did not know that someone died there. But the information that you are now giving me here, in that, I used to hear such information, such news from people. They used to tell us. So we appeal because it was because of our action, our own free will, our coming into Farafenya. That was the reason why that happened. We appeal to their families. We did not intend to come here to put Gambians to make Gambians suffer, because if that was our intention, we would have captured the Ajame in one of his meetings and disappeared.
So that
was the reason why I usually came to his meeting places to try to find out means through which someone may be able to carry out such plans. But sometimes when that's why we did this thing, because we did not have any other means. Because if we had succeeded at that time, the brutal killings and the disappearances, perhaps they might have not happened. Because God is the one who puts things the way they're supposed to be. So I appeal for forgiveness from them, so that they can forgive me. This is what I have to say.
My final question is on the use of, since you've gone through a lot from your training in Libya to your participation in Liberia, and even what happened here in the Gambia. What would be your advice, especially to young ones, on issues of violence, issues of peace, and using unconstitutional means to overthrow government?
Silang muna bekeletela yamaro din dindingol do meno yalongo be dumala be wulikan na muna bekeletela yamaro to ko la membe sugiring Cairo fitinola aning Cairo aning bunya roke luala maralola
question over back.
That is a good question.
Cairo manyonsoro.
There is nothing like peace.
So mbe amaro kala menna.
So my advice is this: there is a time for everything.
So by
but that era has passed. We are into another era, for people to change their minds and forget about those kind of things and not do them again by the help of God. I advise everyone on that. I will not pray that what I got into, that someone else will get into it until the end of the world.
If there are no further questions from the commissioners, Commissioner Bojang, Manyima, you have the floor.
Commissioner Manyima Bojang na fana lafte nyini kala jana.
Balo kante. Lafte nyini kala kuma kindola minketa kukoe la karola.
I want to ask you on the issue of Kukoi.
Every alla nyim kudeta baita fo akola bilalunda nyim problem kuko ay ku kalam tajele bang abedami.
Since your failed coup attempt, until all these hardships that you went through, did Kukoi know anything about what was happening here?
He
knew everything until he had to even come back here when Charles Taylor was ousted from power. Until that time that we were in prison. OJ Jallo made a complaint that the people that Kukoi got into this problem, they have been arrested and they are in prison. And here is Kukoi in this country working freely and not being arrested. Then the truth is not being upheld. Yes. What have you learned from this? Just regret.
You may now proceed to making your final remarks if you have any, Mr. Kante.
Mr. Kante silang kiaman kamen fola mindiko isi tentang yela kumo fo ibela kumo da sorana menna ninga tra yaso to be mem fola.
Alhamdulillah rabbil alamin.
Praise be to God.
I thank
the Almighty God because He is the one that enabled us all to be gathered here today. Because there were times to think that such a thing will happen just as we are here today. TRRC lumomina ya jamela government following TRRC. It was only God who knew when Jamel's government will come to an end and when the TRRC will be established. If you told us this while we were in prison, we would have refused. But God's things are very quick. So but a human being, when you find yourself in a particular place, until you become so arrogant, He shows you that I am God and I put you in position. And any day that I need that position, I will take it away from you. And you will not even be aware. I will give you to the one that I please. Because God Himself said in the Quran, kingship is just a blessing I give. The people that are under you, if you don't rule them justly, I can take it from you and give it to one of them. That is what is there. I thank God the Almighty for the good work that you are doing. It's very pleasing to me because many things are being said. Even my coming here, so even within my family, many of them are afraid, they are scared, they are confused. But just as a human being, if you don't know things, you are always in that state of mind. Some of my family members that they will not watch television. They even thought that it's about my father. that if my father should hear my testimony here,
samda ko nga problem dolo zombe problem dolo kono wala tendinta wala nan kon do ma ya sia bala do don pour kana kuma fa me alon ko asikudo dungato da problem da man ka fen
that I am involved in another problem and that may cause some psychological effects on him, which was why I asked my younger brother to be seated close to him and to calm him down.
Just
to make things clear,
because
if the truth is not established, there cannot be forgiveness. But any time that the truth is established, we would forgive one another. Even God himself forgives.
So
and every day we offend him. So why is it that we human beings are not able to forgive one another? So let us forgive one another. It has happened. And you are carrying out your work. And I know they say many things against you. From bad things, insults, especially this Ezafai. It's a big thing. People are saying many things. But for God, if you are doing your work and you do it in an upright manner, God knows He protects you. And nobody can do anything about it. What you are doing is to let the world know what had happened here in the Gambia. What happened in the Gambia here is painful, especially mild too. Many people were brought there in my presence, and many were taken away in my presence who were killed. Many. Some were there. Haruna Jame and his sister. After that, the chief of Biam, Dongombu and others, and Mustafa Nyas. Two of his brothers are old soldiers. So the first day he was arrested and brought there. He found me there, and the assistance I was rendering to him. He did not spend a long time there. When he went to Biam, he told his relatives that I found a person there called BALO TRRC. He assisted me. When he was released, so he went, and not long after he was arrested, they brought him there again. He did not spend much time there, and he was taken away. And that was how they were made to disappear. And two of his younger brothers who were soldiers, they came there. They went up the tower, and they called me and asked me. He said to me, we are asking about our brother. When he was initially arrested and released, the assistance that you rendered to him. And for that reason, we never saw him again when he was rearrested. And that was why your issue came to our mind, and we came here to ask you about him. I told them, well, I am in prison because I am my back is on the wall already. So anytime and they can collect me anytime and kill me. And you are in the service. What I am going to say to you, if they hear it from you, before they will get to me, they will fry you first. So I told them, your older brother has been killed. I told them, if he was here, I would have called him and you will see him. But they have killed him. So many instances like that. Even like Dabamare. I used to give him food, and I used to chat with him. So they collected them from there, and I was aware of it. And even the 9 death row inmates they killed.
One
One of my brothers was there, a younger brother called Lamin Jaju.
So a farmer Banda.
His father died.
So Abama from Banda, Amana Abama Sima, Abama father.
The mother also died because she could not take the pressure.
Ndoma Atamundoma.
He's my brother. He was my brother.
So say Wokamala.
So for that reason,
so Allah do Kukendoma Albala.
The good work that you are embarking on, may God reward you. May God also protect you and protect you. God is the one that protects His creation, and may God protect you and preserve you until your
end of your job.
This is my last statement.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kante, for those wise words.
Mr. Kante
We have a very solid team here at TRRC. We are not afraid. We are not going to be intimidated.
And the
mandate given to us by the National Assembly, we will fulfill it to the best of our ability. And we thank you very much indeed for coming to share your experience, as difficult as it is, with us.
We thank you
And again, I repeat, we are truly sorry that you had to endure so much.
We will
end our proceedings here today and resume tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock. The meeting is adjourned. Thank you all.